There we go. Hello, everyone. It is Saturday night. We are here to talk about anime. Please let me exactly. Please let me know how all the audio works since we're back on the normal setup tonight. If any of you tuned in for Workshop Wednesday on Wednesday, you'll know that the laptop did not work in any way, shape, or form. We were getting single-digit frame per minute out of that.
Wow.
So yeah, okay, point proven. So that's fine. So we're back on the normal setup. I'm sure something will still happen tonight, but that's life. Hey, but Haggerty, no, this is not just the OVA. We're going to be looking at Tenchi Muyo in Love 1, the first Tenchi Muyo movie. They call it Tenchi Muyo in Love. There was a sequel called Tenchi Muyo in Love 2, but that's a whole other thing we'll get to later. So yeah, this is going to be hopefully very interesting.
Tenchi Muyo in
hey,
Love,
Omar.
Tenchi Muyo in Love 2, Tenchi Muyo gets a mortgage, Tenchi Muyo gets divorced, Tenchi Muyo pays for child support. There's a whole slew of films.
It's a long and involved.
All Tenchi Muyo.
All Tenchi.
All Tenchi.
All Tenchi.
All Tenchi
all
all
the
the time.
Exactly.
Hey, Omar, good to see you. Haven't seen you around in a while. Only have watched the OVA and the universe enough to know those. Fair enough. Well, this will be fun then. So first off, before we get into kind of our experiences, Tenchi Muyo is a complex beast. It was the first harem anime.
Yeah.
There are multiple OVAs and TV series and movies, and there are multiple different timelines, multiple different stories. So when they do the TV series, there are whole new origins for the characters. New characters show up that don't show up in other media. So Tenchi Muyo in Love is technically TV series timeline, but also kind of refers back to some OVA things. So like it's kind of, if you've seen the OVA, it's also very much in line with the OVAs. It's complicated. I should also point out. Oh, go ahead, please.
No, I was just gonna say perhaps you should for Chatland just briefly describe the family dry tree.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Let me explain.
all the
the
related
exactly. Yeah.
My family.
Yeah. The reason we said that there's actually a whole gag about that in one of the Tenchi series where somebody asks the questions and was like, "Ugh," and pulls down a whole family tree and goes through all the little details. So it is worth mentioning, though. You're absolutely right. Tenchi is a science fantasy franchise, meaning there's science fiction, there's sort of fantastical elements. It's very kind of loosey-goosey with its realism, if you will. Tenchi himself is a seemingly ordinary Japanese high school student who is actually a descendant of the emperor of the known universe, basically, and has lots of crazy powers as a result of that. And this has made him a person of interest for various people. And so there are, of course, half a dozen cute girls who all live with him as a result of this, and all are all hangers-on on him. So very, very absurd kind of premise. But Tenchi, importantly, has a consistent sense of responsibility. It's kind of his defining attribute, is that he can be kind of goofy, he can be irresponsible, but ultimately, like if somebody's in trouble, he's going to go and he's going to help them. And that's kind of the thing that really defines him. And the other girls are all orbiting around that in various levels, and we'll see all of them. I should say, this is one of the movies that got me into anime. So I cannot be objective about this film, you know? There's certainly things about it that I'll sort of criticize, but it's a thing. So yeah, back in the day, this was one of the movies that aired on the Sci-Fi Channel that I just got really interested in, and it got me into the whole thing. So I'm very familiar with and very much in love with Tenchi Muyo in Love. Ha ha ha. So Steve, what's your experience with the Tenchi universe in general? And
The Tenchi universe. So
All of it.
All of it.
All of it, Steve.
Hang on, let me get my chart. Let me get my chart. Yeah.
Flow chart.
No, so the my first experience with Tenchi Muyo was that I was going to refuse to watch it.
Oh.
And was aware of the movie on Sci-Fi Channel, but I didn't watch it. I was into other things. And when it came on to Adult Swim, initially I wasn't going to watch it, and I was just kind of like, all right, harem, whatever. I don't really get this, whatever. And then there was a piece of art that I saw in a store, hobby store, and it was a fan, and it was kind of leaning against the rocks where Ryoko comes from. And the art intrigued me. I was like, okay, well, I'll just give this a try. And it was very reminiscent, of course, of Grave of the Fireflies. And I was just like, oh, okay, so this might be something like that.
This might be
Thank
a happy
God
way.
it's not. God. So I watched it. So I watched the OVA that they put on there, and then I really liked it. And I watched, of course, the 26 episode series, Tenchi and Tokyo, all the stuff that came from Adult Swim, and I became a huge fan. And then I watched. Then I finally got around to watching Tenchi Muyo in Love. Watched it a couple times, of course. Watched it again before this, and I thought that I had. It's a fairly simple movie, so I thought I kind of knew everything about it. And then I actually watched the credits for the first time, and I found something new.
Ooh.
I'll talk about that later.
Okay.
It has to do with the music.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a thing.
Yeah.
John, how about you?
It's your fault.
I blame you.
I mean,
I'll take that
literally,
blame.
I like harem shows. So in the vast universe of them, there's a vast universe of them, and it was one of your panels that, and I don't know whether it was. I don't think it was in the panel. I think we were talking about afterwards, and you had mentioned Tenchi. So I went and watched War on Gemini.
Okay. Nice.
And then
Interesting
subsequently
starting
you're like, that's not Tenchi, but it is Tenchi. It's a different thing. So I went and I watched the original 26 episodes. I was like, wow, how did I miss this? And then I've seen like bits and pieces, but I'm even lost in it. Like I don't know what OVAs I've seen of what where.
Yeah.
We've talked about this multiple times where Crunchyroll has a current Tenchi. It's not a filler, but it is. It's the flowchart.
I mean,
it literally is the flowchart because it's animating everybody sitting down and talking about the House of Jirai and all of the allied like sub families of the House of Jirai and all these people that are the heads of their respective constituent houses and who's cousin and who's what's daughter, son, that not having everything stitched together and watching it, I'm like, I'm confused. There's very little Tenchi and a lot of people sitting around drinking tea and talking. I'm like, I don't know what part of Tenchi is this.
It's like watching like a historical drama where everyone's sitting around going, so my father is descended from this duke over here. Oh, that's very interesting. And this is happening. Oh, well, wasn't your father involved in this battle? Yes, he was. And it's just all of this backstory. This stuff. This might be fascinating, but I have no idea the context of any of this. Yeah,
and that was the latest. Beyond watching now Tenchi Muyo in Love, that was the latest bit that I had seen of Tenchi, where I was just like, geez, man, if you need this kind of like, and it's like a 5-episode OVA that just does nothing but backstory. So it's like that kind of gave me a warning that it's like I might be I must be somewhere lost in the Tenchi universe. That this is a thing that helps us to reorient ourselves to where we are. I'm like, oh boy.
Like the characters in this, you were almost sent off into time and space.
And
infinitely.
I was just
totally
doing what I can with what I got.
Well, Tenchi in Love is a great intro to the Tenchi franchise. And it's really interesting to see where it starts. And we'll see if I can get a beginning here. First off, it's produced by. It has this very, very quiet opening. And then you find out, we lost the video again. I always love that. 1 second. Gotta reopen that. Doo-doo-doo.
Wouldn't be Saturday night if we didn't have some
Exactly. Yep. Wow, it's completely lost it. Why is it? Huh, okay.
The video is lost in the Tenchi universe.
It pretty much. Alrighty. No problem. We'll get to it in a second. So the thing about this is that it starts very quiet, very serious, with just all this technology happening, and you don't really know what's happening. And it's kind of interesting, especially being a thing where, again, this is something that is, even if you're a Tenchi fan, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, right.
It's just sci-fi stuff and things exploding. And then once you start seeing that happening, there we are. All right, so we just need to go in and re-grab that, and we should be good to go. Nope. There we go. And then you see just people being killed, basically right and left, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, not something you normally see in the Tenchi OVAs and stuff. It's usually kind of implied. Instead, you actually see the people in the hallway going, and then the big white boom of death that goes across the screen, and people just sort of.
Yep. Definitely setting some stakes. This is big deal stuff going on. And this giant ship gets destroyed. We then the first Tenchi characters we see is actually Kione and Mihoshi, which is kind of surprising. I should point out I'm going to use character names here because again I've lived with these characters for 20 years. But the two Galaxy police detectives here, and we do get their personalities a little bit. Where she's like, Kione, drop my cookie.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out what's going on.
She is an unforgettable character.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
And
we'll get to her later.
There are points where you kind of want to forget.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there are points that make you wonder whether there's like some kind of special committee that was like, she's such a nice person. Maybe you should hire her. Even though she's just like a terrible police officer.
So actually, Tenchi GXP answers this question, and I will reveal it here. Mihoshi, especially her mother, has indescribably bad luck. Her luck is so bad that if the Galaxy Police are aware of the worst pirates ever, and they send out all their ships, Mihoshi will accidentally teleport into the middle of that fleet.
Oh.
Which is very useful.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And so one of the reasons
Okay.
she stays there is that A, she doesn't explode things on a daily basis as she would if she was back in the regular world. But also interesting things happen because she's there. And she's always in the middle of it. So
Yeah, that's a way to put it.
Jesus.
Interesting way to harness that that amazing power.
And then we get Tenchi beginning to disappear in this gorgeously animated sequence, by the way, of the feet and the hands starting to disappear. And
Digitize.
all hand animated. They had to move all those little bits. Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then we jump back to 1970, and it's interesting how we talked about My Neighbor Totoro a couple weeks ago, and that being a very nostalgic anime. In 1970 is again a very nostalgic period, right at the tail end of the Japanese economic boom, the first economic boom post-war. Things are all sort of calm and relaxed, and we get this long scene, no dialogue, of just these characters coming in. And watching it now, I realize it's very Japanese, live-action film. Characters walking along, freeze frame of a character. You always expect the little, actor name to show up beneath it.
Toshiro Mifune.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you get Mihoshi coming in, which
Late.
really late. Which and again, if you're a Tenchi fan, you're like, Mihoshi's a teacher. Oh no!
That's exactly what I did. I'm like, what?
Worst.
And then poor
choice.
Keone, her partner, who's the brains of the outfit, is a very competent police officer. What is she?
Oh, she's like the
She in it.
janitorial staff.
Here's the janitorial, and here's your safety protective goggle glass.
And her sweatsuit.
Yep.
Right.
And then Hoshi comes into her class. We get a very typical class, and then we get the characters coming in. And I do love this introduction. That Ayeka comes in, and we get a very typical intro to her. And again, of course, the video stops working for me. Gotta love it.
I love his sleeve protectors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess her mentor teacher.
Yeah.
That they look like the old-fashioned like blotter sleeve protector things. You can write on with ink or pencil, and it will get on your nice white shirt.
Exactly. Yes. Very, very
Beautiful.
So that happens, and apparently I got to find a new video thing. But then Ayeka and Ryoko come in. And I love the reaction of the class. As Ayeka comes in, very prim, proper. And I was like, oh, good. Ryoko comes in, bag slung over her shoulder, you know, smirk on her, and I was like, eh.
The entire class is just like, no.
We don't need
All
this.
she needed was the little clover piece.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what are you looking at? Like, uh-oh, here comes the tough.
Yep.
Which I'll be honest, I love Ryoko.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, she's just
Ryoko
for a crazy space pirate.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
no question. No, I'm definitely a Ryoko person. And then
I'll ship that all day.
Oh yeah. So, hello. Interesting. There we go. Just gotta resize it a little bit. And then we get Tenchi and Sasami hanging out at school, trying to blend in, not very well.
Yeah.
Poor Tenchi.
Oh, the backgrounds were in the opening portion. The backgrounds were gorgeous.
Yeah.
Tenchi Muyo has like the best background artist in the business.
Yeah.
It's nuts. You're absolutely right.
They put a lot of effort into what really, I mean, it's just purely set up. It's just all entirely set up, gives you the thematic point of you're like, okay, this is 1970s. Look at the pristine element of this,
Yeah.
X number of years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and look at these uniforms.
Yeah.
Right. Very classic uniforms. Also, something I appreciate about Tenchi, which is just kind of odd. Everybody has completely insane hair colors, classic anime hair colors. If they are characters like from the rest of the universe, everyone else has classic Japanese hair. The dark brown, black, which is kind of interesting. And then we transition to the film of them watching Achika. It should be pointed out, at this point in the real world, we knew nothing about Tenchi's mother.
Yeah.
The OVA tells us that Tenchi's mother died when he was young. I forget if it's the OVA or the TV series that actually has an image of Tenchi crying in the snow. It's a very iconic image.
It's the OVA.
It's the OVA, okay, yeah.
And I think it's the OVA that has Ryoko ripping the kimono, his mother's kimono.
Oh, yes. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that one I don't know.
Yep. And so, up until this point, all we know is that Tenchi's mother was this kindly woman who died. That's it.
Yeah.
So we get to see his mother all of a sudden. And I love this framing device of watching film of his mother to kind of get everyone up to speed as to who this character is. And again, you also get all the personalities, Ayeka's kind of angling, Ryoko's making fun of Ayeka, Sasami is just, she seems so nice. And then we get the big sci-fi bit of Tenchi disappearing. And I do think it's hilarious that every time this happens, he gets slammed up against a wall.
Like this mobile catch net.
Yeah.
And it should be pointed out, Tenchi Muyo translates literally to no need for Tenchi, which you may have seen in the various titles. And so it's kind of the joke here is that Tenchi's useless throughout this entire movie until the very end. He's kind of the problem. He can't be the solution. And we get this wonderful, ridiculous sci-fi BS thing of Tenchi's mother being erased in the past, and so they have to travel back in time to rescue his mother. It's just completely silly.
Because
I love
but you got-
Washu's machine to do this too. And
Yes!
everybody's like gonna
because
throw up.
everything can be solved. All plot points, all plot weirdness, everything like that can be explained very succinctly with one character.
Yep.
Little Washu.
Exactly.
Little Washu all just has to do is goes, oh, I reinvigorated the time vortex and plasma rifle to shortchange the blah 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 the blah blah, and everyone's just like, very good, Washu. That makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Which case, if you're able to do this on the fly like this, why didn't you prevent the thing that happened that led to this thing that happened? Like, hey, wait a minute.
I also, and again, it's one of those things. And Tenchi's always been good at kind of editing and revelation of stuff over time. But I do just really enjoy how we see all the characters going by, and Ryoko's going, come on, Washu, just get this over with. And Eika's going, well, I guess we'll do it. We'll do what we can. And let's see here. Tenchi is going, I'm really sorry you're all involved in all of this. So somebody's going, I'm gonna hurl. And Mahoshi's just,
Yeah, big line of trolls coming out.
it's just, yep.
And wouldn't you love to be on that side of the ride? Why?
Why you need spit guards or maybe a splash shield.
There we go. And yeah, absolutely, Kamen Rider Rise is very Back to the Future, right? It's basically that concept. Gotta rescue the parents. And you get, I should mention this little joke. So actually, double joke. Mihoshi is trying to teach, and she's explaining this Earth story about the triangular relationship between the warrior, the princess, and the demon.
Yes.
Tenchi, Ayeka, Ryoko.
And Ryoko.
Yeah. But also, there is an episode of Tenchi Universe, if I recall correctly, where Mihoshi has to go undercover as a teacher.
Yep.
And the only line you hear in that episode is her up there going, and this story is about the triangular relationship between the warrior, the princess, and the demon. Yeah. Sure enough, it's the only story she actually knows.
Well, she said that in this. It's like, the teacher, you already told us about this one. She's like, but it's the only one I know.
Keone's perfect line, that idiot. And we get stuff between Ryoko and Ayeka, and the beginning of the story with the operative, right? The spy in the room. And I think they do a really good job with this because it's easy to overemphasize a character like this to give things away, but because he's just there, and he just kind of walks around a little bit. You don't see him planting evidence or anything. He's just there. It keeps him a nice mystery.
Well, when you see the movie for the first time and Kane escapes the villain, he escapes. It's the whole no mask concept as he goes out, but you see the eyes, and when in anime the eyes are always thin, and so you see the operative in the classroom, and you're just like, it's going to be these two. Okay,
is it Kane? Is he Kane in the human form?
And then, which begs the question is, why isn't he acting? He's right there.
Yeah.
Why isn't he doing anything until you figure out? Ryoko finally figures it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you get to the one of the worst pieces of animation I've ever seen in my life.
Which is?
The hand. The proportions. So when the operative actually sticks his hand into Ryoko's back, and the entire conversation, and he jumps. If you look at his hand, and everything's out of proportion. Everything's out of proportion. His body it's kind of like this weird acid trip kind of.
I think I know the animator who's involved in this, and he's known for doing very sketchy what's the right term for it?
Because you see it off and on during the
Yeah.
whole movie. Like the whole scene where Mihoshi's looking for Keone under the bed. And,
Yeah, they definitely have different animators working on different parts. No question there. And so we get other bits.
And that scene where you have Tenchi in the bushes looking to see his mother. Am I the only one that got like a weird vibe when he gets a little bling, little blush, and I'm like, do you think your mom's pretty, Tenchi? Like, why are you blushing, buddy?
Nah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a little weird. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's an odd reaction.
No.
Oh, mommy. Oh.
Well, also it should be pointed out, because Tenchi's mother passed, so far in his past, relatively speaking, he doesn't really remember her very well. So seeing her, in the flesh, would definitely just be a really odd experience, I think.
Yeah.
And he's kind of reacting to that, I think. And so again, just more bits and pieces. And again, this is one of those scenes that just really caught me when I watched it the first time. When Tenchi collapses and they have to go and try and find Achika, and we see them running around doing stuff. And I'll see if I can find. Here we go. Aika goes running, and oops, there we go. Aika goes running. Come on, video player. Sorry. Wow. Can I say it was fine until like half an hour ago?
It's just overexcited at how good Tenchi is,
Clearly.
and it can't bear it.
Clearly.
And I love Sasami's backpack with the portable net.
Yeah.
Just hook it up and glue Tenchi in the air.
There we go.
In the equipment shed. Like, wait.
Whatever works,
That's not uncomfortable or unusual.
No.
That's fine.
Exactly.
It's okay. And I love her use of baseball signs. During when she's telling the others, like, or Tenchi in particular, like it's okay to come out. She's actually using third base.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I was trying to figure out which team was on her hat, but I couldn't figure it out. I've
Mm.
never been able to figure it out.
That's cool. And I didn't understand that at all. And so we got our first real big romantic scene, for lack of a better term, between Achika and Nobuyuki. And folks mentioning in the chat, lest we forget, Tenchi's father Nobuyuki is this pretty giant perv in the
I was going to say
later on.
Oh my god! So when I watched this movie for the first time after watching the OVA, and all I know is like you see this really wholesome kind of kid drawing, and he's kind of a little geekish, and but he's totally relatable, right? And he's into gadgets and things, and okay, cool. But then in the back of my head, I'm remembering from the OVA where Ryoko's in Tenchi's bed for the first time in the OVA, and his father's got the freaking VHS camera going, "Oh, my beautiful wife, I'm going to record Tenchi becoming a man." And you're just like, "Oh, no."
Yeah, this is not the way we want to do this.
No. Yeah.
So you kind of wonder how, not trying not to be funny here, but how broke he got after his wife died, because it is a totally different guy.
It's true.
Nobuyuki is a totally different guy. He's pretty heroic, actually.
And we see him after Tenchi's born later on, and he's much closer to what he is now physically, but there's none of that in his personality.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah. But a sweet scene, definitely, between the two of them. I also like, and this literally brought tears to my eyes, if I recall correctly from the organization of everything, Achika recommends adding a window to the house.
Yes.
That is the window in Tenchi's room.
Oh.
Yeah. Because they show before and after, and I'm like, I think that's Tenchi's room, where that window goes in. I'm like, that's sweet.
And the internet goes, "Oh."
Yeah, exactly. Come on.
Well, and for a romance, it was treated very sweetly, because it didn't.
Yeah.
There wasn't. I mean, there was no real sort of pre-information to it, and it just sort of cruising along as this little bit of a friendship and then just sort of goes somewhere. It's like you
It
guys
was
didn't have a lot of time to deal with this in a
Right.
film.
Yes.
Right.
And you didn't rush it. You didn't just jam them together. Then the crew shows up and they're like, "We got to save them," and then on to galactic space battle. You know what I mean? It's like they actually took the time to sort of let it kind of happen and then go off and see how the gang's doing, what's going on with their lives. And then you come back to it bit by bit as you see that little bit of smoke develop into a little bit of a flame and then move on from there. And it's like, oh, that was sweetly done for the time that they had to do it in.
Absolutely. Again, just a lot of care, obviously, went into the film. And so you get they're going to go on the school field trip. I love the addition of the Beatles poster in Nobuyuki's room. Absolutely the kind of thing you would see in a teenage boy's room in 1970. And then, of course, Keone getting transported back to Washu's in the bath, which and again, Tenchi Muyo invented the bathhouse scene. Like they started that whole thing. So
Oh, wow.
yes, so this is very much in tune with Tenchi's overall kind of mood of okay, we're going to show this kind of ridiculousness. And then we learn more about Kane. And again, getting back to that point, I think what's clever about the scene is that idea of rising or falling tension. We start with comedy and end with drama. We start with this very goofy bit, and then we build up to revealing that Kane is this thing, while also having some slight humor. I noticed this time around, they're listing off Kane's rap sheet, and it's wanted for destruction of planets and suspected murder.
Right. Because one is
Kane destroyed 13 planets and 275,000 ships.
Possible murder.
But he may have murdered old man Carruthers
Right.
in the gas station. Down
Yeah.
the way.
He
So-
tripped an old lady and took her purse. Oh, man. The planets I could have left alone, but no.
No. So then they go off, and then we get a sequence which, again, and this is one of the interesting things about anime in general, I think, is that this sequence where Ayeka and Ryoko face off on the train has a much more cartoony feel than the rest of the sequences, which I think is very appropriate to the scene. They're having this, argument, and they're fighting each other, and it just escalates and escalates and escalates. And it's the kind of thing that just doesn't. I think in a more modern anime, they would try to make it more consistent, but I think this just amps up the ridiculousness of the situation to the point where they literally, blow out the electrical system on the train.
Yeah.
And I love how everyone just kind of sort of justifies it and doesn't think anything's wrong with these two.
Yeah, there's not like a super panic.
Exchanging electricity, and it's just like strobe lights and just anger and just all this happening, and then afterwards trying to there's an apology from the conductor. Sorry for things long to get here, even though we had these two weird alien chicks trying to blow up the train. And everyone's just like going, "Oh, it's okay."
That happened all the time in the 70s.
It was a fever dream. It's okay. It's okay.
I like the fact that Ega had, from the Tenchi, whatever, one of the billions I watched, they had a couple of guardians stationed out front of the house that are these wooden pillar things that are drones, or I don't even know what they were.
Oh, they have names.
But you have Aika show up in the train, and all of a sudden she and Ryoko are getting ready to go at it. You see all these little, pillars show up, and I'm like, oh, crap's
now
gonna
that
happen.
alone right there,
Here
if I was on the train and that alone happened, I'd just be like going, I am just going to crawl. I know I'm big, but I'm going to crawl underneath this seat because I don't want to know what else is happening.
I'm going to hit the conductor I need help button.
Yeah.
Help.
By the way, Azaka and Kamadake.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a huge Tenchi nerd. Apologies. They go to Tokyo Station, beautifully rendered Tokyo Station.
Yeah.
They all get ready for the big day. With Keone as conductress. Poor Keone.
She just fills in for everything.
Never gets a break. And here we get a lovely sort of back reference to our own movie, where we discover the moment when Achika disappears, she's actually talking to Ayeka and Ryoko. And it's this conversation they're having where they're kind of, messing with Achika and Nobuyuki. And again, sweet scene, like you say. You're getting a sense of those characters a little bit more, and really building it up.
With Nobuyuki with his Super 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobuyuki, say something. He's just creepily.
Yeah, just
yeah.
Which, I mean, Super 8s had no sound ability,
No.
or did
True.
they?
Nope.
No sound.
As I say, because that would have been, at the time, that would have been where you'd have the Super 8 and you'd literally have a reel-to-reel on your side with a microphone,
mic.
where you'd kind of
Mic,
hold
yeah.
the two and try and catch the sound at the same time.
Yeah. And then we get the first chase of the operative.
Right.
Exactly. Oh.
And nobody notices the strange blue-haired woman flying.
Yes.
Right.
Just, you know what I mean? Like, that's
Or
again,
either that,
yeah,
or
that's
it's just
normal.
like they just see over the Imperial Gardens, a blue-haired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Couldn't possibly.
It was an android kid last week with.
Right. Exactly.
Mecha Godzilla came through a while ago. So.
Whatever. And so then they go to a temple. Remember me showing you the photos of the temple?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it turns out.
That's that.
And the branches, the sakura branches that you had in the photo are in. I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
it's like,
my
wow.
goodness.
And so this is Sennoji Temple, which is a one of the big tourist attraction temples in Japan. It's one of the reasons in the film is they're going to all the classic spots. Tokyo Tower, Sennoji Temple. I happened to go there when I was in Japan by pure luck. And all the way down are all these stalls, and so they're all buying food and tchotchkes and such at the stalls. Whereupon we get this sequence between Ryoko and the operative, and it's an important scene because it does fill us in on Kane's motivations. That he hates the lineage of Jirai and is trying to kill that off directly. And like I said, in the anime series Noin, To Another World was the fight scenes in that I think are animated by the same guy who animates this fight, because he has this very sort of how to put it, this style. it's kind of simplistic but also kinetic. That's the word I'm thinking of.
Right.
Lots of movement and such going on, and a lot of characters interacting.
So it kind of
those.
dumbs down the high frame rate or
Well-
quality of frame rate for the kinetic action.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So individual frames look wonky, but the actual movement's
Movement's good.
Is
Okay,
nuts,
yeah.
is nuts.
They did
Okay, I
that
gotcha.
for. Did he also do that Fooly Cooly episode?
He might have.
Yeah.
The other thing was in Naruto, which I think
Yeah.
he did as well, where
Yeah.
it's sequences. And then and again, there's a guy jumping on top of the whatever. Who cares? I will say again, having been here, luckily, the back of the temple is deserted. Like there's nobody there, weirdly. So it is like a reasonable spot where you could just have a giant explosive energy battle, I
Fight.
guess.
Okay.
And no one would immediately notice. There wouldn't necessarily be anyone like right there. But anyway.
There'd be people going, "Wow, that's so cool! Let's get our fortune, the lucky fortune. See how we did. do you have the greatest luck or the worst luck? Don't you want to watch the fight?
Probably space pirates again.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, Japan, you've been through so much.
exactly. We get a little Tron moment here when Keone is brought back.
Yeah.
He's like, out of nowhere, just okay, we're gonna do a Doctor Who sequence, opening credit sequence for some reason, where Keone comes back with this stuff.
Thanks. Now I have the Doctor Who intro in my head playing in the background. Yeah.
And we get one of the more important scenes, one of the more important moments in the movie, because this again kind of establishes Tenchi's character. He refuses to be helped at this moment. He's about to disappear, and he's like, "No, if I can't handle this pain, I can't help Mother." and that's it. You know, he will soldier through this to do the right thing. And so moving on, we get to the day where they have to do the various temples, and again, the five Fudo temples, classic Japanese things. So we're gonna do this whole thing. So we're gonna see all the classic moments.
The highlight reel of Japanese.
Yeah,
temples.
exactly right. You know,
Sweet.
Mm-hmm. You've now you don't have to go. I also got to say, Red Fudo. So this is where you realize how ridiculous this is. Again, much as I love it, Tenchi can't get anywhere near his mother in case of time paradox.
Yeah.
What does he do?
And so he just does it, and it's fine. You know, all right. I guess that didn't matter at all. But that's fine.
Well, it's not exactly like, I mean, and you can understand it, I guess, if he walked up and said, "Hi, you're my mother." And
Sure.
then it'd be like, "What?" And then, maybe. But other than that, a vague similarity to the both of them, he's another kid.
Yeah.
And he's dressed weird, so it's a little odd, but,
The other side of that coin, though, is they are both Jirai. So they do have, mystical powers, which could cause them to connect, which I guess is the...
Well, doesn't she say that she picked up on that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, she says Tenchi at one point. She's not been introduced to him. She's like, Tenchi.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
like, uh-oh.
Yep, it's working.
But the
there.
world did not end
The world did not end.
because of that.
I should also point out, this could not have been all that easy to make, because they have to show you Tokyo Tower as of 1970. Right? So, I'm sure this elevator doesn't look the same. It didn't look the same in 1995 when they were drawing this. So they had to go back and find references for how all this looked 25 years earlier. So imagine all that work. Again, I'm sure these uniforms for the ladies working there have changed. So a lot of work there.
Well, that means junk shop diving, because I'm sure in whatever year there's probably a souvenir booklet that has highlight pictures of various things.
Oh yeah.
So as long as you can find somewhere like 70s to 75, maybe you could get a picture book postcard souvenir thing. You probably could glean it out of that.
Yeah, probably. You're right. Kane attacks. Operative does not have a good time.
Oh no, he has a joyful riot of time.
Yeah.
It just ends badly. That's all.
It's true. And very badly.
Well, I mean, it's tough when you're fighting a supervillain and you're in unarmed combat. Sorry.
There you go. And again, I do appreciate the fact that we've seen this operative. And he's like, "I'm going to take on Kane," and you're like, "How are you going to do that? Like, really, dude? How are you going to do that?" And you find out, it's not going to work at all. Like, sure enough, like that was dumb.
He's very heroic.
Yeah.
Kind of not very, very well planned heroic.
Right. Well, I mean, his whole entire existence in this movie is literally just to give Kane 2 seconds of pause before wiping out the elevator. And because otherwise, I mean, here's a being that we learned that it took the Emperor of Jirai to contain him, and it killed the resulting victory, killed the Emperor of Jirai.
Yeah.
And all this stuff. So he's going to take on Kane with a handgun.
Cool handgun.
Power of friendship.
Yeah.
Power of friendship.
We can be best buds.
My sense of justice will prevail.
Well,
Yeah.
I might be cut in half, but it'll be okay.
Yeah, the presentation of what's left of him is kind of like,
Yeah. Oh,
oh,
totally.
wow.
But-
Didn't expect that part.
But did
Yeah.
you see Tenchi's parents or his kids are just like, oh my god, and Tenchi's just like,
Yeah. Like, oh darn, this kind of thing happening.
I see this a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tenchi's not had it easy.
There's a great sequence in OVA 3 where a bunch of bandits show up at Tenchi's house to take it over, and the entire crew is like,
Yeah.
all right, let's do this again. It's like,
You know what? Just
another
occurred to
Tuesday.
me? You know what just occurred to me? Maybe he's looking at the operative who's basically torn in half and going, I know how that feels.
That could be. I sympathize with your friend. I know
Exactly.
that pain.
Yeah.
I've had that happen. I recovered. Sorry.
Yeah.
I
true.
got better.
No, true. Like quite literally.
It turned me into a newt, but I got better.
Yeah. And we get our big face off with Tenchi and everything else. And then we get a little moment. And
What is the Tenchi lightsaber, by the way?
The Lighthawk sword.
Lighthawk, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it in the series, but it's like I don't know what the background to that is.
It is an artifact that his grandfather Yosho brought with him from Jirai.
Okay.
That he used in OVA continuity fighting Ryoko. And locked her away. And then he is kept on Earth. And so Tenchi, when he touches the sword, he can actually resonate with it and he can actually activate it. Because he has dry blood in him. Other people, it's just a handle, it's a hilt.
And determining on like how powerful you are in Jirai determines like how much of the Lighthawk you can actually use, like how many panels.
Right, like when his mother picks it up and it's like,
and she turns it into like a
two-swords, sword. Like,
well, he turned that into a Nagata, and just went to town on Kane with that. I was just like going, I just reflected on that the other night when I was watching. I was just like, oh my god, yeah, that's right. Yeah, women would have been trained on that type of weapon. That's why it transmorphed into, instead of a sword, Nagata, to that, and she just whooped his ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sliced and diced.
Captain Laser Eyes, he does have his Lighthawk wings. The problem is that Tenchi does not know how to control them yet. At this point in the continuity, as far as I know, it's a thing that he can...
It happens, but it's like the sword actually guides him through it, I think.
Yeah. But Achika, stands up to Kane briefly, and we see a little bit, and again, it's one of those great little, we're going to see more of that later on. But I like that she's like, no, this stops. And we see, oh, that's right. She's a daughter, like she has power. Like she could do something here. And then we get this moment. And again, you're watching the movie and you're like, okay, this is the climax. Okay, they did it. They're going to take care of Kane. He's going to get sucked in. Cool. Awesome. Nope.
Yeah.
Well, technically, yes, he does get sucked in. As do Achika and Nobuyuki, and they're trapped in with him. And what a wonderful twist to make the successful solution backfire.
Yeah. Well, when she got grabbed, I thought for a second it was going to be like Tenchi was going to come up and cut the lines, and you'd see Kane drift off screaming into null space, and that'd be it. But it's just like, and is it just she's getting pulled in? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Now this is gonna like
pull
the hole
harder,
will close up,
pull harder,
or the hole will close up and it'll break the line, and that'll be. Then like, I'm like, oh no, really?
Yeah.
And that's the moment that you look at the time counter and go, oh crap, there's a whole nother 15 minutes.
I thought I was at the end. Nope, apparently not.
Nope. And I want to put a lot of. I want to mention the voice acting here. I grew up with the English dub. I'm used to the English dub. I've actually tried listening to the Japanese dub, and it just sounds weird to me. So I just, that's not their voices. But I really appreciate the voice acting here. Tenchi's like broken, and like even Ryoko is just like, Tenchi, no, just stop. There's nothing you can do, and she's broken too. Like she's really hurting for Tenchi in this moment, and you really feel it. You feel the desperation here. As they're just stuck. And they're like, what on earth do we do at this point? And I love that the movie pauses and gives us this time to really reflect on where we are. Again, a lot of other movies which keep on pushing, especially Hollywood movies. But this gives us that space to really feel it. And
for Bashu to figure out how to get them in there too.
With again, ridiculous sci-fi nonsense. We're going to triangulate on Achika's brainwaves, and so Ryoko can teleport.
And then we're going to bring in this ginormous mega cannon that's supposed to take out galaxies, and we're just at this one little building in Tokyo.
Yeah.
All will be fine.
Pretty sure there's an international or interplanetary convention about bringing mass destructive weapons, like a giant cannon, park it in the middle of a human city. I don't know.
In fairness, Washu is aware of these regulations and completely ignores them.
Yeah. Like messing with space time.
I'm little Washu.
There is a giant crater lake on, I think it's planet Jirai, that is many, many dozens of miles wide. It's a result of a massive experimental mistake known as Washu's crater.
Nice.
Yeah. But it's worth it because we get this awesome transformation sequence where their little bands like separate and glow over their bodies. Yeah. This never happens any other time in Tenchi, as far as I know. It is just unique for this one moment. It's never mentioned before. It never happens after. But it is absolutely awesome as they transform into their battle outfits and get all the things that they need.
I thought it was a really neat effect, and I certainly hadn't recalled it before, so I'm glad to know it wasn't that I just missed it. So.
Yeah, no. They don't even, and they all have like these little gold bands or like a thing. You notice like, oh, that's where it's coming from. They didn't set it up. There's probably like a cut scene from the storyboard where they explained all this, and like, I don't have time. I don't know.
Yeah, we're on a budget and time scale here. We gotta go. Did you see the question from Wesley about Kane being the same race as Zerum? I don't know what that is.
Oh, let's see here. That's interesting. Wesley, as far as I know, Zerum is not does not cross over world-wise. Zerum is from Iria. Zerum, actually, that right there, which is a anime and a live-action sci-fi universe. And you're absolutely right. There is Zerum has like no face in the middle of his body, and so you're absolutely right that there's a connection there. I suspect it's more that they're similar to No Masks, and so they're both drawing from the same kind of cultural, source in different universes. You're right. It is interesting.
Like No Face from Spirited Away.
Right. Exactly.
It's a very similar kind of dark body thing with a mask for a face.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so we get our big climax. And again, not too much to explain here, other than the fact that Achika goes all badass.
Yeah.
And just all of those abilities suddenly come to her, and like you say, she grabs Nigata and goes, and we get, Tenchi zeroes in on her, and we get Sad Boy and Snow. We get the shot from Tenchi Universe of, and that's their connection, right? Is her death, which is a kind of an interesting little thing there.
Yeah.
And that is where they're able to come in, and help out. Whereupon Kane transforms, and again, I love this. It's one of those things where, again, this is the animation. He's this amorphous being, so he can be anything. So he turns into this sort of Night on Ball Mountain beast creature, and starts attacking them. And what does it take? It takes Achika, Achika in Rage is the name of the track in the soundtrack, where she's just like, nope, this is it. I'm taking you out. And is just vicious with it, just hacking and slashing away at this thing, before finally literally cutting it in half.
Yeah.
And it's
I like the way she gets serious. She takes her scrunchie off,
Right.
pulls that off, and then her hair comes down. It's just like, oh, Mama's about to open a can of whoop ass. Here we go.
Yep.
And she did.
Absolutely. And we'll get to that in a moment too. And then, of course, they try to leave. Kane's not dead. No movie villain is ever actually dead. And so they have to fire the dimensional cannon at it to destroy it, which also makes it morning, I guess, which is very handy. But again, ridiculous sci-fi nonsense. Awesome stuff. I wonder whose shirt that is that Achika's wearing. I don't know. I do like the fact that somebody got her a shirt, her clothes are all torn up. She needs something there.
Random passerby with an extra shirt.
I guess.
Pardon me, miss. Need a shirt?
Yeah.
Here you are.
Go.
Yeah. And so, so we get our little denouement with everyone. And this is where I started to cry. Because, Achiko doesn't live. This is the beginning of their story. And you get this wonderful moment where she goes, take care of him, you two. Like, what is it? I know I'm not going to be there, and he needs you.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful moment. And she has that line of we'll live the best we can with the time we have. That's what matters.
And I like the memory erase button, too.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Because, otherwise you'd think she would go off and be like, okay, why am I dying? How do I not die? That way I can have Tenchi, I can live with, everybody together, and everything will be fine. It's like, nope, memory erase button, sorry.
Yep. And to that point, we find out in the ending monologue, this is probably what killed her.
Yeah.
She used up her power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, the Jirai have a very long lifespan, and if you have no power, which comes from, the whole beating you in the head stick with Shinto, that Tenchi Muyo happens to do with you. So she loses that connection, and so, the Emperor, as they say in the beginning of the movie, the Emperor of Jirai, in capturing this guy, initially dies because of this,
He expended so much
power, yeah. And so, she pretty much did the same thing, because remember, when King faces both of them on the tower, Tenchi and Achika, and they're both there, and he figures out, oh, you're the son. Don't care about you.
Yeah.
You're the one I want.
Yep.
He goes after her because she's the one with the power.
Mm-hmm. And she's the one who's used the least of it.
Right.
She's been an ordinary girl up to this point.
And also, as the daughter of the Emperor, if you take her out at that age, you affect the entire line going forward. So you negate Tenchi entirely.
Yeah.
That's a quick decision looking at the two of them. Be like, you.
Yep.
Take the heir to the throne or take the daughter of the Emperor.
So you have these eyes, yes, Tenchi could possibly die from the same thing as his mother. That said, mortality is an interesting thing in the Tenchi universe.
Yeah, especially since he's been cut in half.
Well, yeah.
Well, he's half human.
He's
So maybe that provides some robustness.
3/4 human, technically, I guess.
His mother wasn't full Jirai?
Yosho is full Jirai. His grandfather's full Jirai. His grandmother is full human.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that could affect it. The other thing, and this is getting deep in the weeds, Yosho has moved to Earth and will die. Like, he realizes that he is not immortal as a result of not being around the Jirai royal trees and so forth. Right. And he's fine with that. He wants the normal passage of time for himself and his descendants. So, that branch of the family is not guaranteed to live for centuries or millennia.
Right.
Who knows? But then also, Tenchi's very, very special. Especially when you do the later OVAs. Tenchi's a very unique individual. So, but either way, we get the our denouement with Achika and Tenchi a little bit as they're there, and then we transfer into the modern day and all of them. And we get
Where's this window? Is it the one that's at the top with
that
the
skylight
shutter?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I believe if you watch the
up
OVA
in that?
TV, if you watch the OVA TV series, he's in a room with a skylight coming down in his room, and I think that's the one. And so we get again kind of the classic Tenchi, gang's all here moment.
Yeah.
Now
let's get everybody in for the poster shot that we're going to be selling at the gift shop.
Yeah.
There we go.
Exactly. Everyone's kind of in their classic pose. I don't think I can find a still image of it, but I do appreciate that Nobuyuki's got a Pioneer camera on it.
I feel like buying a Pioneer camera, by the way.
Yeah.
A Super 8.
Yeah.
You know?
Pioneer is one of the big sponsors of Tenchi. They're
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
get this in the final moment, and then the end credit sequence and the end credit song, which is in English, by the way.
Right.
Japanese or English, you will hear an English song because it was recorded in English, possibly because of the composer.
Right. Tangerine Dream.
And we're not going to see that on here, unfortunately. So the composer is kind of an interesting thing in here.
Yep.
Steve, you want to take that away?
Well, I was going to talk about the singer, Nina Hagen. Nina
Go
Hagen,
for it.
but the composer, he did a lot of stuff. He did Babylon 5.
He sure did.
He did the music for Babylon 5. He did
Mhm.
he did music for a lot of stuff. The male duet behind the female voice is from the band Tangerine Dream, which is a huge 60s, 70s band. And Nina Hagen, who delivered that I don't like the song. It's a horrible song. And the voice and the lyrics are, whatever. But Nina Hagen, for those of you who are old enough to remember 99 Luftballons, that was her. And this was done. If this was done in '96, this would have been about the time that she lost her mind.
Oh.
And went from Nina Hagen model to Nina Hagen performance artist, drug user.
Ooh.
The last thing she's done was with KMFDM, industrial music. The new incarnation.
They're doing it again. Yeah.
Drug Against War. But yeah, the composer made is everywhere.
Yeah.
In the sci-fi between the 80s and the 90s. He's everywhere. You think of the series he's done something for.
Yeah. And they clearly got him for this movie.
For this,
this
right,
this was a star pull. And it's one of the things is it gives it a very distinct feel. It doesn't quite sound Japanese, doesn't quite sound like traditional American symphonic music.
Right. Yeah.
It just has its own tone to it, which I think is really cool. And that's basically Tenchi Muyo in Love. It's a really sweet film. So now that you guys have watched it, what are your sort of overall thoughts on Tenchi and the whole lore and all that stuff?
Still lost.
Fair.
I like it.
Fair,
I mean,
fair.
I like Tenchi Muyo. I like the characters. I enjoy the ride. But I am totally at sea with who in the heck anybody is. When I first saw the space world tree thing, I'm like, what?
Oh boy.
I'm like, how does it's got a it's like somebody's Japanese garden floating in space with a tree. I'm like, what's going on?
Which is, it gets worse.
So I just enjoy the ride. I'm not asking a lot out of it.
That's wise.
For me, like I said, I saw the OVA and the 26th episode, Tenchi Universe. Separately, I think I saw Tenchi in Tokyo before I saw this.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow.
Did you see War on Geminar?
Parts of it. I didn't really make it through.
It was enjoyable, at least I thought.
I didn't make it all the way through. But with the World Tree kind of thing, that's where Tenchi Muyo just says, "Hi, this is about Shintoism." We're going to keep over and over and over with this.
Yeah.
Not that that's a bad religion or anything. It's just that after a while you're just like, I get it. I get it. But what I liked about Tenchi Muyo in Love, even though the title is so not what you think. Okay.
Well, and that is kind of the gag,
right?
Right.
And so, but what I really liked about it was that it is about his mother. That you never see in the Tenchi universe, you never see her anywhere else. I don't even think there's a picture of her.
I mean, you do see her briefly in OVA 1, I think. There's a shot of her looking back at Tenchi. She does show up in OVA 3 or 4, I think, though.
Okay.
But it's a different mother. He has a completely different mother in that timeline, so it's a different thing.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just not. These are questions I'm not going to ask.
But you really don't know anything. All you're stuck with is pervy dad ready to film his son's sexual conquest of Ryoko, and it's just really, that's all you get. So to find out, that this is history, a prequel of what the Masaki family wound up being, how the house got to be, where it got to be, and things like that. It's very informative, and it's a nice little break from if you're big into Tenchi, it's a nice little break from some of the stuff like the Sasami storyline. It's definitely a nice break from that. Even though Mahoshi is just
Well, I saw something in Sasami where she tinkers with things.
well, Sasami is oh god, how did it explain? Okay, it's Tenchi.
I mean, Sasami is very special.
It's very special, and she is. There's a very disturbing sequence in the OVA. Is it the OVA where she falls in her dream and she dies in her dream?
I don't remember that one.
Okay,
It's how she becomes aware that she can that she has power.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You don't see her like die, but you see that she has fallen into a place, and then things happen to rectify that situation.
So,
but it's heavily implied. Yeah.
Yeah, and you get a break from the Mahoshi Kione thing, even though you still feel bad for Kione, and you just want, someday Kione is just to hold Mahoshi's head under the water just long enough, and
just shake her. Why are you so dumb?
Why are you so? Well, actually, there's that in Tenchi Universe where there's like an alternative storyline where she like runs away from being a police person to get away from Mahoshi. She's out in this fishing village out in the middle of nowhere, and she's happy just serving crab soup. And then suddenly Mahoshi shows up, and she's just like, "Kill me now!" But it's a nice break to get away from all of that. And to focus on a new character who, even though she is a direct line descendant to the Emperor of Jirai, she's a normal human girl who has a crush on Nobuyuki.
Right. Yeah. And it should be pointed out, like the whole point of the title is the fact that it's a harem series. Tenchi can never choose, right? And so Tenchi's in love. Ooh, he's choosing. We found out who he's gonna go. No.
No.
It's just his mom.
Yeah. Tenchi loves his mom. He's gonna save her from getting killed.
Exactly.
And by extension himself from not existing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Kind of self-interested, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. Come on, man. Come on, dude.
It's not a selfless Tenchi. It's a Tenchi very focused on the fact that he's going to disappear.
Very much.
Yeah,
but I thought it was interesting though that in Tenchi's mother's transformation sequence, they had to do the magic girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They had to do the magic girl. I'm just glad it wasn't Sasami.
We'll just wait.
Yeah.
I mean, there's actually
Pretty Princess Sammy.
I don't think
Pretty
she.
Sammy?
I don't think there's a transformation scene, but I don't think she's nude. She is in the OVA, I think, but I don't think in the TV series. I don't remember. I'll have to find out. So Captain Maze's Rise, technically yes, which we'll be talking about later, probably. There is one Tenchi storyline in which it is clear who Tenchi should belong with. But again, it's Tenchi, and there are a bazillion different timelines, so whatever.
It's the little funky nya cat creature.
It's Ryooki, definitely. It's absolutely Ryooki. By the way, did anyone else notice?
I choose you. Now let's go get some cat food.
And also, when Sasami was on the bus, Ryooki was there as a charm on her backpack. Yeah. That was cute.
That was actually that was creepy. It's like this is the stuffed thing that I killed out in the woods. Yeah, I couldn't back Totoro, but I could get this cabin thing.
Yeah.
Cabin.
Yeah, the cabin.
That's what it was
That's
called.
right. It is a cabin.
Cabin.
Tenchi's weird. It is a really weird franchise, but a lot of fun.
Yes.
And that is kind of the point. It's a wild ride. And like you're saying, John, I think it's one of those things you just let it flow over you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it as much as you
Yeah.
can.
Well, I mean, ultimately, in the end, it's a harem anime.
Mhm.
Yes.
So you're absolutely right. 99.99% of the time, you don't continue a storyline if somebody chooses somebody. So you have that close brush with one character. Well, nope. And then you move on, and it happens again and again. And you gotta just let it go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not looking for Shakespeare out of my hair. Come on.
Well, just wait. There are definitely some Shakespearean moments later on at Tenchi.
Yes.
Out, damn spot.
Will you get to actually Magical Project S? The Pretty Samey TV series has some dark moments, surprisingly. But yes, that is Tenchi Muyo in Love. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We're gonna take a quick break and come back in a few minutes to talk about the upcoming anime of the season. We're gonna go through some of the anime that we will see this season, and we're gonna share some of our picks, some things that interest us.
Another 50 animes for me to watch.
I'm gonna go blind in my left eye.
Oh, God.
So we'll be back shortly.
be just a real disappointment.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We have a whole new setup here because we're going to talk about some the anime coming up this season in the world of anime. So the Winter 2021 anime season is upon us, and we thought we'd walk through them and talk very briefly about some of the upcoming anime because that's, let's be honest, kind of fun.
That's what we do.
It's what we do, exactly. And so we've each picked up to 3 anime that we really want to watch. Obviously, there's others that we're interested in. We have our top 3, up to our top 3.
Oh, because I have 20 that I want to watch. But
yeah. Only so much we can do.
Yeah.
And then I know I've picked one anime that I have no idea what it is, but I'm intrigued. So.
Oh, I can't wait to see what yours is because
Okay.
I hope it's the same as mine.
It might be. But yeah, so let's just start going through it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to list the title, I'm going to talk a bit about the description, and if anyone has any comments, we'll talk about it. Otherwise, we will just move on because there's too much to talk about in this season.
Hey, quick question.
Yes.
Are you going to put this in the second season, third season continuing box of shows and then brand new IP?
So I will include second seasons, third seasons in this list.
Okay.
I'm gonna skip over anything that's like obviously for kindergartners. Obviously, that's
Right.
Right. Lots of round cartoon cat kind of things. Nothing against them. Just I don't think the folks here are
Doraemon gets the cold shoulder.
pretty much.
And Steve's favorite crayon Shin-chan gets the dustbin. Denied.
If there was a Doraemon reboot or a Crayon Shin-chan reboot, it would absolutely be in this list. All right, so this is livechart.me's list of TV anime only. We may get to movies and OVAs if we have time. Sorted by popularity. I don't know how they calculate that because there's a separate listing for most number of ratings, which I also don't know how you would rate something you haven't seen yet, but whatever. So we're just going to go through this by popularity. First one, obviously, Attack on Titan final season. It is spoilers. Is going to be happening in this season.
Yeah.
They're going to finish that out. I'm sure folks who are into Attack on Titan are all ready for that. ReZero second season part 2. So help me understand this one, because why is there a part 2 of the second season? Why is there just a third season?
Because that is a popular thing I've noticed on some other series. So that instead of having episode 1 through 12 or 1 through 26, it literally is like episode 1 through wherever. It's like it doesn't sort of end.
Wow, okay.
And they get through the part 1, which is, I think part 1 was like 13 or 14 on ReZero. And then now it's like technically episode 15, 16, 17, 18. So, you know what I mean? So I don't understand the functionality of it other than to make it an oddity that you look at and go, part 2?
Yeah, and to extend it, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. That time we got Reincarnated as a Slime 2 part 1, which, again, same thing. The second half will premiere in July, so just pushing that off. Synopsis is more plot from Reincarnated as a Slime. Yay.
It's already broadcasting, by the way.
Okay, gotcha, yeah. All right, January 12th. Wait, that's a bit weird. Huh.
Yeah, I already saw it.
Weird. So this is another thing. It should be pointed out. There are some shows this season that are airing in America first.
Yeah.
So that is another good point.
Really weird.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
weird.
Because Crunchyroll. And soon Funimation. So Dr. Stone Wars!
Didn't make my top 3, but I was like, everyone's turned to stone? What? So, huh?
Yeah. I haven't gotten to it because I haven't seen people like slavering at the jowls, being like, "Oh my god, it's the best thing ever."
I saw the first few episodes, and it's interesting. It's just, unfortunately, from what folks have said, it became deeply shonen in kind of silly ways.
I can understand
Whereas it was set up as this kind of post-apocalyptic kind of how do we rebuild society. They just got kind of goofing over the top.
Right.
Not a bad thing, just different from what folks expected. And so this is going to be an upcoming war in the world of Dr. Stone amongst these survivors. Promised Neverland Season 2. So this is the story of a group of children living in a, I was going to say a foster house, but an orphanage, where turns out things aren't what they seem. And bad things are going to happen to these children sooner or later, so they are trying to find a way to escape.
Well, I mean, in the end, ultimately, it's just a story about a bunch of farm kids who really are kind of really free range.
Yeah. So more of that coming.
And nobody has any idea what that means. So, hey, it's not a spoiler.
Yeah. Quintuplets Season 2.
Watching it. Yep.
More of, school time with 5 cute red-headed girls.
Harem. Stupid harem.
Stupid harem. Absolutely. More of that coming. I think that is a pretty perfect description of this show. Comedy, harem, romance, school shonen.
Yep.
Right there, that's what you get. Log Horizon Destruction at the Round Table. Log Horizon coming back.
Thank you.
It's been a year since the thing that trapped them all in the game. But there are now genius monsters who may destabilize all they've fought for and built. Exactly. So
But
more
it's been a lot of years since Log Horizon.
It's true. Yeah.
It's been a long time in the coming to get this one thrown in here, so please make it good.
Yeah. We'll see. Mushiko Tensei Jobless Reincarnation, the first one here, not a second season, whatever.
Yeah.
Isekai series, man is reincarnated into a new world as an infant. However, he is fully aware of what's going on and trying to maneuver to get the best possible advantages in life. Kind of looking out for number one type of thing. And I have actually read this manga, as it happens, or at least the first volume of it.
I thought this sounded familiar. I thought
Yeah.
you mentioned this one before. There's a couple actually on this list that I was like, did Brent say anything?
I will say there's some slight creep factor. He is very excited about the fact that his first tutor is a loli.
Oh.
And
Okay.
finds any opportunity he can to sneak in to watch her changing. And he's like 8. So it's just kind of uncomfortable, but I think it's treated very lightheartedly.
Right.
And what's going to be interesting is that he's clearly trying to be he's trying to get as far as he can, but he's also trying not to be a jerk the entire time.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they thread that needle of him being not turning into the villain, so to speak. Who knows?
Well, did you ever see Knights and Magic?
No.
Adult guy he dies in our world, born into another world where there's magic, these giant magical robots with magical muscling, stuff, kind of weird stuff. And he's a total basically Gundam Gunpla guy.
Okay.
So he goes in and sees these magical robots as I could do that better.
Oh.
I can design this better. I can do better features on it.
Cool.
And he becomes a magical engineer, but it's the same kind of thing where it's he's born into the world and he has to grow up enough to get to a point where they'll let him touch these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, they shortcut his wee tiny little person age until he's basically 12.
Okay, yeah.
And then he gets into it. So it's that I saw, I'm I think I might be into that.
Yeah, similar premise. I got to the first volume and I was like, I am sufficiently unsure where they're going with his character to feel entirely comfortable moving forward. I'd have to find out where they're going with it. So hopefully the anime can kind of go there. Suppose a kid from the last dungeon boonies moved to a starter town. Basically, kid off in the middle of nowhere leaves his village and discovers that he's actually much more powerful than other people in the city, and is able to presumably find his fortune there. So not in the sky, apparently just a straight fantasy series.
Yeah.
Looks fun.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, there we go. Horimiya. I swear I've heard about this.
It's a remake. Well, it's not a remake. There's
Okay.
a 6-episode OVA
Oh, okay, that's what I'm thinking of.
that has a really cool art style.
Mm.
And this one, it looks like every other show.
Oh, okay.
It's like, oh, okay, I gotcha. But okay, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
They obviously had the interest and the budget to do it, so
Yep.
kudos to them.
And it's from what I've read, it's one of those classic. I present a different side of me at school. You present a different side of you at school.
Yeah, nobody can find out about this because it'll blow my entire rep.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
I get this.
Mm-hmm. Seven Deadly Sins: Dragon's Judgment, a franchise that just will not give up.
It's hard to
should,
watch
but-
because it just won't give up. Just keeps going in different permutations.
Granted, the final arc begins.
Tenchi, no, it's not as good as Tenchi.
Yeah. So they are billing this as the final arc of Seven Deadly Sins. Who knows?
Sure, it's just like
Yeah.
Evangelion, the last of Evangelion.
Right. Yeah.
No, it isn't.
Naruto's over.
No.
Yeah. Moving on to Son of Spiders. So what?
I want to see this.
Yes, I want
Okay.
to see that.
All right. So this is on both of your lists. Okay.
This is what I want to see.
Okay.
Okay. So here, I watched the trailer, right? And
I didn't see a trailer.
and the trailer is just so damn frenetic, and it's just
Interesting.
all over the place. And it's the girl. It's just a guy. The girl's reincarnated as a spider in a dungeon, and it looks like she has other female spider friends, and they have a little band. And they have a band. And they sing to the other monsters.
Oh,
in
that's awesome.
Wow.
The dungeon. So
Okay.
it's like she's singing about. I think she's singing about how she has to somehow make her way and not get killed by the more powerful monsters, and how she and her friends kind of do this, and then
Wow.
it breaks
Oh
into
my.
song, and the song, and it's very. By the way, it's very. Was it Netflix's Agretsetsu?
Atletico.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very much like that, where she, as a spider, is like lolled out, and she's just flailing around on stage with a mic, and she's just she's even making fun of the fact that she's this guy, and she's just all over the place.
See,
And,
this seems like a total hoot. It's gonna be.
and you know what it reminds me a little bit of? Only interesting concept of just fun. It's the Sleeping Princess.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
Gotcha.
so I think if you like that,
Gotcha.
you're definitely gonna like this. But it is just you're not gonna fall asleep because it just moves, and quite frankly, if you have epilepsy, you might want to make sure you're up on your meds. This stuff is just
Just bash it in the eyeball.
It's also 24 episodes. At 24 minutes each. So there's going to be a fair amount to this, which is
They've committed. They've really committed to that.
Yeah.
I want to
Absolutely.
see this one. This one just strikes me as fun.
Yeah, that sounds great. Moving on to redo of healers. In a dark world of monsters, adventurers, and mages, some of the most gifted healers are subjugated to brute force, even by the hands of their compatriots. But one mage gains the ability to rewind time, turning the tables and righting all wrongs. No idea. It is also listed as an ecchi fantasy, so I don't know how that's going to work into it as well.
I guess I'm going to have to take the bullet for the team. Watch this. All right. I'll sacrifice my time for this.
Well, I'll be watching the first episode of these, or I'll at least be on Zoom next week. So we'll see. Next one, Cells at Work. 2 exclamation points.
Woo.
This is on my list. It's basically season 2 of Cells at Work.
Yep.
Only 8 episodes. But we are getting more of the Cells at Work franchise. One of 2 Cells at Work anime this season.
Yeah, I was going to say right below it is Cells at Work Code Black.
Yep. And the reason I'm ranking this higher is because I'm just very invested in Red Blood Cell and White Blood Cell. I just want to see more of them. They're just a great little couple.
Oh, what about Platelet Chan? Come on.
Well, Platelet 2.
Or
Certainly-
Platelet Kun, I guess.
It's true,
this time
yes.
around.
Although you do see Platelet Chan in the key art, so presumably we'll see a few of both of those.
Sweet.
Here's hoping. Moving on to the hidden dungeon only I can enter. A place
watch
of
it.
legend. But the main character is the third son of an impoverished noble family who's lost the one job offer he had, but was lucky enough to hear about this dungeon. But he acquires a skill that allows him to create, bestow, and edit skills, with which he needs to accumulate points by carrying out tasks like eating delicious meals and doing certain things with alluring members of the opposite sex. So, etchy. Definitely etchy.
So I'm gonna have to watch this one too.
Yeah.
Damn the luck.
I know. I
The luck.
can't get a break.
So we'll see where this comes in, like how they thread that needle again. This could be a lot of fun. It could be very ridiculous, silly, or it
They
could be,
thread that needle. Oh boy.
or it could be Peter Grill. Like who knows?
I'm
Yeah.
gonna probably guess it's gonna be a little more like Peter Grill and Ishizuku reviewers,
Mhm.
just because obviously the popularity of that is a solid chance.
Also, like, look at the title. Think of the title for a second. Like,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's a
Nudge,
there's
nudge,
a-
wink, wink.
yeah.
Not as good as a blind bet
There's
to a
a-
blind bet. Yeah.
There's an entendre there. Then Cells at Work Code Black, as we mentioned, spin-off of Cells at Work, and basically gender swapped. Male red blood cell, female white blood cell. And so, interesting to do. One of the things they've kind of revealed here is that Code Black takes place in a different body.
Yeah.
So we got two different sort of situations going on. I actually watched a video where a real medical doctor watched the first episode of Cells at Work and talked about it, and he said, I think this person has, like, AIDS or something because they are susceptible to all sorts of diseases.
Oh.
And it's like, oh, that's interesting.
Wow.
And as I've kind of read a bit more, it seems like there has been thought put into what kind of person could actually have all these diseases. I don't know if it's AIDS or not, but that thing does seem to be a thing that they think about. Is it's not just random diseases you're having. There's some underlying cause. So be curious to see where they go with Code Black. Hope it's fun.
COVID. It's all COVID.
Yeah, it could well be.
It would be quite timely for COVID.
Yeah. Beastars Season 2.
Yes.
You're getting a second season of Beastars, which kind of surprises me. I kind of would have expected Studio Orange to move on to something new, given how innovative they've been. But here's hoping that will move forward. Don't know how many episodes there are. Presumably 13.
But I mean, Beastars was innovative, and it was good and innovative.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know what I mean? It's
Absolutely.
like that was something that when I saw Beastars 2 coming up, I'm like, yes, thank you. You somebody out there acknowledged what that gem was, and then went with it again. I'm like, thank
Yeah.
you.
Netflix.
We
They
can
have
see
the money.
Legoshi and Haru, and we can see everybody getting all what happens in this world with them.
Yep. I'm actually, Netflix, and this is worth pointing out, Netflix is actually kind of stingy with season 2s. If you don't make it, they do not let you keep going.
Yeah.
So this is a good sign. Moving on to bottom tier character Tomozaki,
Yeah.
who is basically trying to apply video game logic to the real world, from what I'm reading of the description, thanks to a girl that he meets.
Sure.
Yeah.
The world God only knows.
Mhm.
Where he takes his Galga skills with the goddess, their souls that got lost in the human realm, and he's got to apply his dating sim skills to rescue these souls out of girls. Yeah.
What does intrigue me is that, at least on the live chart, this is listed as drama and romance in school, not comedy. So they could take this in interesting directions if they would kind of dig deep into it. Who knows?
I'll take that bullet.
Sure.
Again.
Sure. We'll see. Laid Back Camp Season 2.
I watched the first episode last night.
Oh, yeah?
Oh goodness.
Oh, good.
Oh goodness.
Oh,
So-
good. This one's on my list. It's number 2 on my list. Absolutely. I'm up for this. I love there's no synopsis. Girls Camp. Like, that's all that show is.
Rena and Nadeshko doing their thing.
Right.
Oh, this is awesome.
All right, Kimono Jihen. Which sounds like one of the most shonen things ever. Special Detective Kohachi Inugami is sent to investigate a grisly phenomenon involving animal corpses near a remote mountain village. But after meeting a strange boy who agrees to help, he discovers cursed supernatural forces at work. Little by little, Inugami uncovers the truth behind the killings and the boy who may not even be human. Next time on Dragon Ball Z. You know, it's just, I don't know. Yeah.
I've seen this before. Does he get like turned into a little boy or something?
Probably. Yeah. Or he gets a spirit gun. One of the two.
Yeah, it's right.
Oh,
Right, yeah.
you next on Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah. And again, it's hard because these shonen series can be a lot of fun, or they can just be very generic. So
Yeah.
we'll see where it goes. World Trigger Season 2. John's very much looking forward to this one.
I had to drop World Trigger after episode 60 because it
Wow.
just kept going and it never went anywhere. I'm like, get on with the point of the show, please. Stop like taking these asides like Arkland, where it's like everything else is happening except where we're trying to go with the show. I just had to drop it. I'm like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
I never got into it because that's one of the descriptors that it was given to me was a review. I forget who did the review, but it was just like, please let me out of this room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. I'm just going through the same four corners over and over and over again. And I can't get out. Please let me out.
Bad guy shows up. You do something. Now you go into like 10 episodes of training montage. And then the bad guy does something, then you do something, then it's more training.
Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ball Z.
Oh my god.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Too much.
All
Yeah.
right, Goku.
Yeah. Beat him up.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you'll be happy to know that there are at least 2 more seasons of World Trigger coming because this is season 2 and season 3 has already been announced. So yay! But it has fans. It has fans. Good for them.
It will never end.
Yeah, I mean, because I did not find anything about the characters in particular, their design, their personality, setups, voice acting, seiyuu skills were fine. I mean, nothing outstanding, nothing like horrible.
Pachinko machines.
Must be. I mean, there's got to be something that's driving this popularity for it because I didn't see it, and I gave it more than enough opportunity.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know?
I don't know.
More than enough.
Moving on to Other Side Picnic. This is I have no idea what this is, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Got nothing.
Sorawo is saved by the mysterious Toriko in this other side world. Entranced by its beauty, she discovers that this dimension is inhabited by monsters, once thought imaginary. Joining with Toriko in her search for a missing friend, they set out to explore this nightmare realm and maybe make a little money. I've actually seen the trailer for this. It's girls with guns fighting monsters.
Look at the very top piece, the descriptors, and the very last one. Because the cover art I saw for it, it features the little brown-haired girl and whoever the other main character is, and they're kind of like embraced, and the other main character has like a Walther PPK and is like holding her. And I'm like, as soon as I saw that key visual, I'm like, yep, that's a shoujo eye, all right. There it is.
So obviously there are elements of noir in this, of that whole B Train thing. I'm actually surprised it's not a B Train anime. But it feels, it's one of those things where they are throwing so many different things together of having this weird supernatural world that they're all fighting through, but then they're trying to make money.
Yeah. I was like, I'm curious of that one.
So I'm very curious, but I have no idea. All right, moving on to X-Arm.
I read the description of it. I'm like,
right.
I'm like, nope.
It's whenever by
it
a
is
truck.
edgy. I might
It's
take
true.
it. Yeah, and that first line right there, Truck Kun. Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Truck-kun right there. But then we get some sci-fi nonsense about X-Arms. And sure, stuff happens. I wonder if the character designer is
From Tower of God. What?
It looks a little bit like Durara. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Again, seinen. I'm always up for some seinen.
Right.
Always interested in something that's more adult. Ecchi seinen really freaks me out, and it doesn't freak me out, but it's like that can go in some disturbing dark directions. So who knows? But yeah, feels very generic. We'll see. Hortensia Saga. Fantasy war, basically. Hortensia has relied on its vassal states for protection, but when one of them revolts, it throws the land into chaos, keeping orders with the country's knights. But a new storm of violence heralds war. Is it too late to avoid a future born of blood? Spoilers, no. It's Vinland Saga, basically. It looks like very much that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's cool seeing more fantasy anime. Just straight up fantasy anime, not reincarnated, nothing like that. Just, big old war.
We just want big old war.
It's big old war.
Big old war.
Plot. We just need war.
I just want some skull cleaving.
Yep, pretty much.
Get old Claymore out.
Yep.
There you go.
Moving on to 243, Seiyan High School Boys Volleyball Team.
Because Haikyuu wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Because we need another excuse for a musical. Come on.
Right, exactly. Yes.
And a rhythm gymnastics routine.
Yes. Mm-hmm. This is a World War II drama. No, it's a volleyball. It's a boys volleyball team anime.
How they defeated the invaders with volleyball.
Right.
Spike.
The description is hilarious, and by the way, is like it's a novel on Lightroad. I don't know why. Like, there's this whole big backstory where it's like it's a volleyball anime. Come on.
Wow, yeah, there is a lot of description there.
Okay, fine. I think they go into all the different characters and all their backstories. And who cares? It's pretty boy high schoolers playing volleyball.
Blah 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 gets hit by truck code. Blah 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 needs to rehab to gain the championship at the volleyball. His teammates rally around him, but they have their own circumstances. Blah blah blah. Had a troubled childhood with his mother who got divorced. Yeah, whatever. We get you. Move on.
We gotta get the nationals, guys. Come on.
But a new problem is on the horizon. Yeah.
Nationals has been canceled because of COVID.
And we have Skate the Infinity.
We talked about this because Steve was talking about the mine ride with the skateboard.
First off, this should be a video game. Like that is a name of a video game more than an anime. Yes, there's a highly secret and dangerous downhill skateboarding race in an abandoned mine. And there are heated battles called beefs in the races. There's they race on skateboards.
And it goes on from here.
Where this is going. That said, Studio Bones, it's going to look gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm sure the fluidity of motion is going to be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
Well, this is the thing. Name another skateboarding anime.
Yeah.
I mean, Eureka, right, is kind of surfing.
The closest.
But it's kind of interesting that there's not been a lot of skateboarding anime.
Well, there's two ways to look at that. Hey, this is the fresh new way to take it. It's nobody else has done skateboarding. Or the alternative would be there's a reason nobody else has done skateboarding at all.
Captain Laser Eye says it's initial D with skateboards.
Oh, God.
Wow.
That's basically,
Drift down the mine.
Exactly. There we go.
Oh, boy. So moving on to very much not Skate the Infinity, Non Biori Non-Stop.
Yes, woo! Renge,
Yeah.
woohoo!
So...
Otaru, Renge, all the girls.
There's a newcomer, Akane Shinoda.
Interesting to see.
Interesting to see. I'm sure there'll be lots of drama. there's never any drama in Nananpyori.
They're going to go to the candy store. They're going to walk around the rice paddy. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. That and laid back camp together.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll be like comatose afternoons where you just let the healing love just wash over to you as you see their wonderful idyllic lives stretch before you. Oh,
There we go.
And then crashed and destroyed as the skateboarders come
exactly. Then you flip in the skateboard thing. Yeah, whoa!
in. We're gonna do an ollie flip into 360 off the ramp, dude. Yeah.
Hey, don't hit that little tiny rail line that pulls the mine cars up. Watch all that debris. Oh, look out, a miner's
Watch your
lamp.
head.
Yeah.
But little do they know, trouble is brewing in the ancient magical fantasy world nearby. War is coming.
Yeah, war. The bottom of the mine, they exit into that other world.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow.
And they're all
war.
spiders.
We just went from sports to isekai. What the hell's going on?
And the spiders are all playing volleyball while singing.
Ah!
I don't even know how to describe this mashup.
We'll be
Brilliant.
we'll be getting to idol anime. That's a whole thing.
I know.
But before we get to that, Sorcerer, Stabber, Orphan, Battle of Kimlook, they're doing another season of the Orphan remake?
Was that good? I saw
No!
the original one.
No.
Not even a slight hesitation of, well, in my subjective opinion, it doesn't. No, Brett
I'm
goes full on it. No.
I'm joking. It is very 90s. It has all of the 90s tropes. Main character is a twerp with no brain. There are two little kids that run around that I think are technically halflings that he's constantly beating up because they're trying to steal stuff from him. It's just very, very weird, off the wall 90s fantasy anime.
Came out 2 years ago?
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know. And again, I'm surprised because it seemed to me like that Orphan remake came out and just disappeared. Like, it aired, but no one was talking about it. So I'm surprised.
I saw it and I wondered about it, and then it just was gone. I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm. So there's more Orphan for those who are into it.
It certainly was no Mugen Train. That's
No,
for damn sure.
that is for damn sure. Moving on to Heaven's Design Team, which also I happen to have seen the manga of.
I saw the first episode yesterday as well.
What do you think?
It's like the who made Natsu no Taizai. It's like their characters designers made this.
Okay, I hadn't left with that.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna let it just do its thing because it's not terribly interesting. It's not terribly funny, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen.
Okay.
So it's solidly okay.
Okay. I really enjoyed the manga. So the premise is that God subcontracts out to people to create animals, and gives them these incredibly vague ideas, and they have to kind of interpret those into what the animals would actually look like. So, the horse was really, really successful. That really, really worked.
Yes.
It's really, really great. Do the same thing, make the neck long. What? Why would you make the neck? That makes no sense. And so it's them kind of reverse engineering, how the animals should work.
Yeah.
So that's the premise. Again, the manga's fun.
This episode had them with the snake.
Ah, yes.
And I will give it that for all the sort of meh, okay, for the rest of it, that was hysterical. That one moment was like, oh my god, that's so funny. And then the rest of it was like, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's why I'll keep watching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to Back Arrow, which I thought was Black Arrow for a minute, and I got all excited.
Yeah, me too.
But it is about a knight with bell bottoms. Lingaland is a land enclosed by the Wall, which covers, protects, cultivates, and nurtures the land. The Wall is God, the foundation of the land. One day, a mysterious man named Back Arrow appears. He's lost his memory, but he claims that all he knows is he came from outside the Wall. He tries to head beyond the Wall to regain his memories, but is pulled into one conflict after another. Action fantasy mecha. There's not a lot of fantasy mecha series, so that caught my eye. But
are his pants the mecha?
Apparently, from what I'm seeing here.
groovy disco mecha pants.
Hey, you know, which is also a good name for an anime.
Disco mecha pants.
Yeah.
Throw a copyright on that, we might have something.
There we go. Moving on to Dr. Ramune, mysterious disease specialist.
I saw the title for this and I just went on because it's COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, do we really want this? Is this what we want? Is this special diseases? Great.
Well, hey, just last season we had Monster Girl Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
We've
True.
got Cells at Work this season.
Yeah.
So I saw this. I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
I actually enjoyed Monster Girl Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I thought it was a fun show. So I'm like, I saw this. I'm like, Dr. Ramune. Oh, okay. Well, give it a wing. Give it a wing.
I was gonna say, well, the premise makes it sound a little mushishi, in basic concept. Although the cover art does not suggest mushishi in any way, shape, or form.
Nope.
So I think it's gonna be, lighthearted, episodic. Person has problem, we resolve problem, moving on.
Right.
So, like I say, it might just be a fun, relaxing thing.
Right.
I lied. Other Side Picnic is one of the anime that's on my list. I'm intrigued by it. It was not I have no idea what this is. Because I just realized what is I don't know what it is, but I'm intrigued by it. And that is Wonder Egg Priority.
Okay.
Ai Oto, a 14-year-old girl, is guided by a mysterious voice she meets during a late-night stroll and obtains an egg. If you want to change the future, for now just make a choice. Now believe in yourself. Break the egg. What awaits Ai when she cracks the egg? Drama.
Angel's Egg?
I was just gonna say, didn't we just see this weeks ago?
What is the one, the Easter
And didn't
egg?
we bang our head against the wall as to what this meant?
Mm-hmm.
It was a pretty cure. What is the one with the Easter egg company that's trying to steal back eggs? Pretty Chara. Pretty Chara?
Oh, Sugachara.
Sugachara.
Yeah.
Sugachara.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of like, wow, could you take Sugachara and mix it with Angel's Egg and come out with something at the end?
You could.
That
It would be
make
something.
someone's head explode. So
And-
yes, that's interesting.
And the cover looks like Summer Wars. It looks like a Mamoru Hosoda film. So I don't know where they're going with this.
And I love the single tagline, drama.
That's all we know.
Wow,
Okay.
filling us in, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm intrigued.
I eagerly await your opinion on this one.
I think this is going to go one of two ways. It's either going to be the most generic, adolescent growing up slice of life drama, or it's going to be really effing weird. So I'm hoping
for the weird.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Who knows?
The egg symbolizes what it means to go from middle school to high school and cracking out of your shell and becoming the person that you want. You shut up.
That's what it's going to be. Hey, let's be honest. That's what it's going to be. All right. Scar on the Praetor. Action superpower with pretty boys.
Yeah.
Government collapses, citizens left to fend for themselves. The divine tattoos give each of these characters unique powers. Agents of the Scarred rise up to become the branches of peace.
Why is this different than Taboo?
Why does this
Tattoo?
hurt me?
I mean, Taboo Tattoo did this whole thing.
Why does this
That
hurt
you
me?
acquire
This hurts
these
me
tattoos.
like the rap
with
one.
superpowers, what was it? The hypnosis mic.
Yeah, this hurts me. I don't know why.
We'll see. I
Hey,
don't know.
maybe it's a mixture of hypnosis mic with was IW whatever it is, Iwagati West Main.
Oh, yeah.
Westgate Park.
Mhm.
IWGP.
Mhm.
It'd be a mix of those two.
Could be.
Lots of pretty boys
knows?
doing pretty stuff.
I guarantee there was a visual novel. Right. This must be based on a visual novel.
Good solid chance.
Yep.
Or a BL Galga.
True. Azure Lane, slow ahead. No synopsis needed. Let's be honest. It's more Azure Lane.
Are they chibier than the Azure Lane crew?
I mean, these characters certainly look chibier. But they could just be, I mean, there's certainly lolis in Azure
But
Lane.
who is the chippiest?
It's exactly, that is the key question.
Who is best chibi?
Who's best chibi?
Never seen Azure Lane. Is it good, bad? Is it like, it looked to me like it was like Kankole.
Yes, it's very much
So
Kankole.
it's anthropomorphized boats.
Yeah, it's
as
based on a
girls.
hugely successful Chinese, mobile game.
Okay.
And there's somebody in the Discord who actually plays it. It's fun. Jay was saying he plays it. It's fun. And the Azure Lane anime is very much, here's that. Here's
Right.
an anime of these characters all interacting and becoming boats and shooting each other. It's
Well, I mean, I enjoyed Kankole. I thought it was cute. It was a neat little thing. What really got me was in the world of making things into other things. So you take the game and you make it into an anime. There's actually a portion of Kankole where they're talking to the admiral, and it literally is a POV.
wow.
So they're talking to you in the anime exactly like they would be doing in the game. So instead of and it's like you don't have any response because you're the POV. So it's like I think at one point they ask a question and you literally see the camera go,
Wow.
and it's just like, why did you do this when you could not come up with a better way to put this story together? You just basically animated the game.
Yeah.
Like that's just lazy.
Wow. Yeah.
So I was worried about Azure Lane being the kind of the same thing. Be like, I don't want to go through this again, where it's like you stick me in the admiral's seat again and talk to the screen. Like
Azure Lane also has the difficulty of having a huge number of characters because it's one of those collecting ghost video games. So these episode I watched was very unfocused. Episode 1.
Okay.
That could also be part of the. It's a combination of Japanese and Chinese game. Thank you. That could also be just episode 1 being like, we have to show you all the characters, so you'll show up. I don't know.
So you can ship your favorite girl.
Yeah,
and then
literally.
back.
Yeah.
And that's how Tenchi Muyo should have started. We should have started with the family tree.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Viewership's falling fast, Captain. I can't turn her around.
Bring out a fan favorite.
It's like the Hindu Panic.
Exactly. We're also getting a new season of Umusume Derby Girls. Pretty derby.
Okay. I really actually enjoyed Pretty Derby, the first season of it. I
know
can't
nothing about
imagine.
this.
Girls as horses.
Yeah. Special Week's really good.
Yeah, they have horse ears and tails, and they go on racetracks and race each other. And they're also idols.
So in the Western world, there's this thing called My Little Pony.
Mm-hmm. True.
It could easily be a version of that ponyish thing.
Mm-hmm. I find it really creepy.
It is.
But that's because it's like,
So basically, this has already been Rule 34.
Very quickly.
Yeah,
but
it wouldn't
yes.
really take that much to get there.
No.
No.
But it is, by sort of technical definition, is a sports anime.
True.
And I
Absolutely.
actually enjoyed it because
Yeah.
you really can, if you strip out all the ridiculous horse girl thing, it's really a track anime.
Mm-hmm.
It's about getting in the shape that you need to be. It's about overcoming your personal, limitations to race on the track and win.
Mm-hmm.
And who thought to make them all horse girls?
Yeah.
Anime, that's fine.
I just like in the world they are kind of treated as animals sometimes.
Yeah, no, most of the time they are.
Most of the time, okay, yeah. So that was the thing that kind of like.
Yeah, their parents, quote unquote, which you don't know if they're not their real parents, they're their trainer. So it's their parents sends them off to do these races.
No.
And it's just like so
this is a hard no.
It's you have to overcome that kind of weird part where it's like, so where's your mom and dad? If your mother is your trainer.
Moving on.
Yep. A little weird.
Yeah.
Lot weird, but
we have Bungo Stray Dogs 1,
One.
aka Bark. So basically, Bungo Stray Dogs as chibis, chibi dogs, all interacting. So definitely Bungo Stray Dogs is massive in Japan.
Yeah.
Really, really successful franchise over there. So they just keep on churning out more Bungo Stray Dogs stuff. It's basically, as I recall, these are all literary characters. This is that one, right? Where they're all literary characters who've now all now in a detective.
I never watched it, so I have zero knowledge on that one.
Yeah. But anyway, huge, successful, looks cute. Fine. Armor Shop for Ladies and Gentlemen 2?
Yeah, I watched the first one.
Okay, how was that?
They're 4-minute episodes.
Okay.
And it's sort of did you ever see Bikini Warriors?
No, but I saw enough like screenshots and trailers to get it.
Imagine the armor shop that makes the Bikini Warriors bikinis.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Welcome to Armor Shop for Ladies and Gentlemen.
Gotcha. All right.
First season was exactly. I've seen. I think 5 episodes. Like I said, they're 4 minutes long. I've seen 5 episodes of season 2, and it's exactly the same kind of like, oh, how could this tiny bikini possibly fit me and be armor too? It's so cute. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least it knows what it's doing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not pretending.
Moving on to Gekidol. Idol anime set post-apocalypse, basically. A mystifying disaster decimates cities across the globe. Syria Moreno receives an invitation from a mysterious woman to join Alice in Theater, a small stage troupe that takes it upon themselves to brighten the world through their performances using 3D hologram technology, which she uncovers unexpected truths about herself and the world around her. Reminds me a little bit of 22/7, being kind of a more dramatic, weird take on the idol concept. Lots of unexplained things, but very much an idol anime.
Something else that hurts me.
Again, I love that the only tag is music. Like, all right.
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes.
Its budget probably went into the music.
Yep.
Probably not too much into the story.
Probably, yeah.
Just saying.
LBX Girls.
That has to be the porniest title. All these.
So, cute girl transported to alternate Japan where metal-based life forms are attacking, and so girls armed with basically strike witches things can fight them, and they have to adapt to save humanity, hope of a planet now rests in these blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So, cute teenage
Generic.
girls, yep,
Yeah.
saving the world. Again, looks like it could be fun, but very much in that mode.
I'll give it an episode, but
Yep.
I'm not expecting much.
No.
Wave! Let's go surfing.
Yeah.
Our surfing anime.
You know what? I want this to be Point Break.
And it won't be.
No, it won't.
Not by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it won't. But I'm just saying that, if we're gonna have like mind skating, I would just like something interesting. I don't know. It just doesn't really do
You
it.
should have made it like, surfing on a hydrogen sea on like some distant,
Right.
far off world. It's the most extreme intergalactic surfing challenge.
Yeah. But it's true. I mean, I think this is the first surfing anime I can think of. We're finally getting a surfing anime.
Yeah.
That's
We had,
really
a
cool.
scuba diving one, and so
Yeah.
was it Grand Blue? Was it Grand Blue? I think it was I think that was the one.
That sounds right.
It wasn't Grand Blue Fantasy, but I think it was.
No, but yeah, I think it was Grand Blue.
But it was.
So yeah, hot guys surfing. Skate leading stars. Hot boys.
Skating.
Well, yeah, skating, figure skating.
Yuri on Ice.
Yuri on Ice. Let's just be honest. It's just
Yeah.
playing off that one. We'll see where that goes. But JC staff, which usually put some time into their work.
Should be decent.
Idly Pride.
Sigh.
Oddly titled, Idly Bride.
But yes, yeah. What is there to say on this one?
Yeah.
Looks cute. Michael-san Chi no Makanai-san.
Yes.
I want to see this.
I
Okay,
do too.
all right. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
This is on my list as well.
Okay. Take it away.
No, well, I mean, I'm just saying that it's the whole idea of the whole concept of just the
Becoming a
Maiko
Yeah.
is really interesting, and how one, and it's a pretty generic story. One really isn't talented enough to be that, but decides to be the support mechanism for the one that does.
Gotcha.
But she has her own kind of thing going on where she cooks, and of course, being a foodie, that's very much appealing too. And I'm finding that this particular kind of slice of life is starting to be more appealing to me, since I didn't really see a whole lot of. I really wanted mecha anime this season. I don't know why, but
You
I
have
didn't
one
really
with the
get that.
'70s pants, so
But
you got that.
but I just like the idea of this. I think it's going to be just a nice, solid story. I don't think it's going to be anything overly dramatic. I don't think you have to think too hard. I think it's just, what was it? You're not on Bury. You're just going to, just nice, sit back and just okay.
Right.
Yep.
And it's like I'm hoping that it's going to give us a little slice of Maiko kind of life.
Yeah.
And that what we'll also get to see would be the people behind the faces that, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, we know what the stage show looks like. What
Right.
Are they gonna do something good with this where it's like, hey, by the way, what you know about this, here are all these people that do all this stuff that makes that stage show happen.
I think they do,
I
because when I watched the trailer for this, they actually show the makeup being applied to the one girl, and the eyeliner being drawn onto her face, or making her face white. How they do that, and it's traditional stuff, not
Blacking out the teeth and everything.
Right? Yeah. Well, I don't know if they. That's not what was shown, but on how they did the makeup. Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
I don't think John's gonna be interested in Roll Witches Take Off. Yeah.
The 501st Strike Witches, the 502nd Brave Witches. Oh, yes. I watched Road to Berlin this past season and just enjoyed the hell out of it. So. I'm looking forward to it.
More Strike Witches. Yarogami-chan Kansatsu Nikki 3 Satsume.
It was so cute.
Oh, yeah?
The first season, the little girl on the left, it's all about Nagoya.
Oh, okay.
And every episode starts out like, don't get upset. We love Nagoya. Nagoya's great. We're just going to go around and we're going to do stuff. And then you have a kid who moves from Tokyo, of course, and he's going around with, the usual sort of oh, wow, Nagoya has food? You guys do stuff? And the little girl, the little blonde, she is like a full-on Nagoyaite.
Oh, okay.
So, she gets, and her thing is she's vaguely catty, personality. So he'll say something completely ridiculous, and she'd be like, what do you mean Nagoya's got? And then they run through, all the hot topics of Nagoya in various ways.
Okay.
So it's cute. The episode's really, really short. So it's great filler, and it doesn't require anything more than just that one, just letting the ridiculous slapstick sort of run over you. And that's fine.
Cool.
It's cute. It's very cute.
Cool. Alice in Deadly School, special edit the stage begins.
No idea.
Edit of an OVA. Music is the only. I don't know.
Alice in Deadly School.
Yeah, they all die. I don't know.
Alice in Wonderland gets stabbed.
Requiem for Alice.
Exactly. Looks possibly shoujo. I don't know.
Well, it says in there alongside the first episode of Gekko
Idol? Yeah.
So somehow related to those two?
Possibly. I mean, certainly music. So
It's the primer. If you don't watch Alice in Deadly School, none of Gekko Idol makes any sense.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all very tightly wound, tightly integrated plot and universe. Y-Cross, Diva Alive. So Y-Cross is known as kind of the psychological thriller of idol shows, because it gets into really creepy territory. So I'm curious to see. I'm kind of glad to see a franchise this, I want to say oddball, but it takes this kind of it's sort of Love Live crossed with Madoka Magica is the best I can describe of Y-Cross. So
Wow.
I'm glad to see that gets some some love.
It's Perfect Blue meets.
They get a wish. If they kind of and it's like
So if they perform
that's gonna
well,
go.
they get a wish.
If they progress through this idol thing, they get a wish, and of course, that never ends well in any media ever.
Well, that just means to me there can be only one.
Yeah, and again, I've only seen bits and pieces. I've just read about it. I don't know where it goes plot wise, but apparently it is game psychological. It's.
When I saw the title, the Diva Alive, all it came to my mind was Data Live.
Sure. Yep.
The Data Live franchise, and I was just like,
Oh yeah.
okay, so this is Y-Cross with the Data Live franchise? I was like, I don't understand what that is. So didn't really register on the radar, really. So no offense.
Yeah, it's fine. I Star Chew. Idol School. And it's cute boys in idol school along with a girl. Maybe is that a girl? I don't know.
It's hard to tell.
Hard to tell. So yeah, it looks like a lot of these other ones could be fun. Who knows?
I start you, and if you're terrible, I finished you.
There we are. Yet another show by Rock.
Yeah.
I think we get one of these every season. It's just another, cute animal girls doing it in a rock band, doing rock band stuff.
But is the music any good? It's from like season to season. Or is it like season 1 awesome musical, season 2 terrible, 3 meh, and then it you know what I mean? Is it one of those things? Or?
I have no idea. I've just seen the first episode of a bunch of them, and it's like, oh yeah, this is fun. Another season of True Cooking Master Boy.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating to me because it's this very
Was it good?
90s thing. I really liked episode 1 of the first season. It is like, it looks 90s. It is structured 90s. It's really interesting. I liked it a lot for what it was. Boy trying to become a master chef, basically, in sort of a feudal China. In fact, I think it is literally feudal China, if I recall correctly.
Okay.
And, stuff happens, and, there's big cooking challenges and such.
Not Food Wars kind of thing.
No.
Okay.
No. But yeah, it's intriguing.
Which, by the way, with your rice cooker, you should be cooking some of those dishes.
Exactly.
I may well be.
Season 8 of Yamishibai.
Yamishibai. Mitarashai, Yamishibai no jikan dayo.
There we go.
I really, really loved the first season of Yamishibai. And then I started literally the first episode of the next season of it, and I was just like, I think I'm good.
Okay, yeah.
I think I got it there. I feel good now.
Yeah.
So.
And so for those who don't know, Yamishibai are self-contained horror stories, basically. So each episode is its own horror story, and it is playing back to the Kamishibai little stage theater shows of 100 years ago. Mobile, yes.
Yeah, little mobile theaters.
Stages.
Huh.
As you had noted,
I'd give that a try then.
Which I believe there's a panel out there about the history of anime saying how those little movable panels and how you could slide them half in to make somebody move across a landscape was the earliest sort of animation.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I remember correctly, I don't know.
I don't know. Somebody did.
I've seen it somewhere on a con somewhere. They're probably an idiot.
If somebody would click, and subscribe to my channel, then perhaps I'll remember.
Perhaps I can upload that video. Who knows?
Yeah.
Moving on to, I have no idea how to pronounce this. I'm going to say Punt Chow Booth, I think.
I was thinking Kiao.
I don't know because it looks Chinese. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely Chinese.
But it is a VTuber character's project, animated using traditional animation. So it's not VTubing. It's not recorded off as VTubing. But they are animating that thing. Great. I'm not familiar with that VTuber, so I don't know.
But I thought the whole thing we talked about VTubing is it's your avatar that you're doing things that makes your VTube character do stuff.
Right.
So you're taking this even further step away from like motion capture of what you're doing to like now you're sending off what you've done to somebody to animate it. Like
yeah.
Okay.
Well, and they say based on the character project, so it could just be we're taking the character designs,
right,
and then just animating new stories with them. I don't know. Could be.
It's just anime.
It's just anime. Idols. What I'm really hoping, is that these are literally like dolls to life. Like, you know, they're dolls that that then have come to life and are becoming idols. Because, please God, give us some twist on the idol concept.
Something.
I don't know.
Well, did you ever see Frame Arms Girls?
Mm-mm.
It sort of reminds me of you guys describing like Gunpla, where you've got these little sort of they're sentient little tiny like action figures.
Okay.
And they have like all these little weapon kits. So it's like a model kit kind of thing, and you have a virtual space where you put the two of them in, and they can battle.
Okay.
And it goes into a greater virtual area, and it's like, I would find that interesting if you had something where you assembled like an idol, and you programmed it, and then you competed with it in your own compositions, and you're the one who programmed it.
I would watch that. Yep.
So it's about your programming skill, about your music skills.
And that gets to like the Princess Maker, you know, games where you're like training a princess, training an idol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So that could be interesting, and I'm sure that's not at all what it is.
Yeah. Moving on to Aikatsu Planet. A world where anyone can assume the role of an avatar and become an adorably cute idol, because of course, who doesn't want that? First-year student at the private academy becomes the #1 idol when the previous alter ego disappears, but her new role is secret to everyone else, blah, 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 blah. Tagline is, to become the me I want to be, I enter the mirror, which is intriguing. It is also listed as kids' music, which has me intrigued because that looks like real people in the cover art. So I think this might be like combination live action animation.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And I want to see this. I'm not saying I want to watch the whole series. I'm just saying I want to see what this looks like. I'm curious. Oh.
It'll be something.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, because the rest of the anime on this are, again, sort of very young kids shows, Tropical Rouge, Pretty Cure, which I'm sure we're all just, you know, we all just can't wait for that. I did do some Googling. This is season 18 of Pretty Cure.
Oh, goodness.
The 18th continuous season of Pretty Cure.
Wow.
They've been going every week, the entire time. For those who don't know, they do they also do a movie every year for each season, because it's a new cast every season. And they also do compilation movies where multiple cures appear. And this series has the Guinness World Record for the most number of magical warriors in a movie at 55. They all have speaking roles, all in this movie.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, it's like the Hollywood Bowl. Somebody comes up and says, "Hi, everybody," and you just hear in unison 55 voices.
Hi!
Now we're thinking this Booker World Record. Thank you. And scene.
Oh, jeez. So yeah, Pretty Cure is doing fine. Pretty Cure is chugging along. No one has to worry about Pretty Cure.
It's not a Mugen train, but holy cow, it's the local express.
Exactly. Absolutely. All right, we're going to take another quick break. We'll be back with the news in just a minute.
Wait a minute. I wanted to get to the one that was my most, I don't know what the hell's going on with this.
What is the name of it? Because we're down at the end of the list.
Look, no, you just put your cursor right by it. Pui Pui Bowl Car.
Pui Pui Mole Car?
where it's a mole that is it's a guinea pig that becomes a car.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, this is a kids
It's
show,
for,
so I'm
it's
not...
for kids, but I was just looking at it. I'm
Yeah.
like, why? Why did
Good question.
a guinea pig become a car?
Good question.
So that was I don't know what's going to go on with that.
Fair enough.
It's Pui Pui Mole Car.
We know they have curvy butts. We know that much.
Hamtaro with wheels.
Hamtaro with wheels, pretty much. It's a mole animation. Boy.
Yeah, I mean that was that was what I was looking at it when we're looking through this list.
There must
like,
be a.
I don't get it.
Is there like a? There must be like a toy tie-in. There's gotta be.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can't have anything like that that you don't have a toy tied into it. Because I mean it just is like Hot Wheels had a slow year, so they slapped in like guinea pig and like hamster tops on the Hot Wheels cars and called it a toy line.
I guess.
It's Pui Pui Mole Car. Kids will buy
Hey.
it. They love cute things.
There we go.
They'll do it.
All right, we're back in a few minutes, guys, with the news. All right. There we are. Hello, everyone. Had to unmute us all. So yeah, we want to talk a little bit about just what we've been watching, what we've been doing, anime-wise. How's your week been?
Full of rice. Yay! My new rice cooker.
Nice.
Yes.
Rice is nice.
Yes, rice is nice. And it goes with
Nice.
everything. That's actually true.
It's actually true.
I mean, I've thrown Spam in with it. I've
Yep.
drizzled maple syrup into it. I've thrown
Ooh.
chicken salad in it. I threw Scrapple in it today. That's just
good.
There is nothing you can't really put rice in. I mean, I thought about it. I had a mini cheesecake, and I thought for a split second, I'm like, I wonder if I could rice this up.
Yeah.
I probably could, because it's so generally neutral that it just fills you up. It's awesome.
Yeah. I guess maybe ice cream might be a difficult one.
No, I bet you could.
But yeah.
You'd have to, instead of doing the hard rice selection on the cooker, you did a soft one, and then threw waited for vanilla or whatever your favorite ice cream to get slightly melty, and then scoop it out and slap it on top. I think it would work.
Okay.
I'll try it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
There
try
we
it.
go. Cool.
I'm wondering if I could take it, freeze it, and then pour a little bourbon on top of it and make it like a sort of frozen rice treat.
Interesting. Yeah.
That would be a treat. Very much a treat.
After the second bowl, you wouldn't even remember how good
Exactly.
or bad it was.
Perfect.
So, not much on the anime front, other than watching Tenchi Muyo and Love. Just kind of dealing with stuff. Just doing the new job thing and trying to figure out how to turn Grave of the Fireflies into a musical.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's all about choreography.
Well,
That's the secret. Now we all know. We'll have to keep it from others.
Yeah.
But I was just just trying to figure out. I was at work doing my thing, and I'm just kind of like going through the scenery and the choreography and the music and the lyrics, and don't want to make it obvious, and just just have them sitting there at the end on the bench and looking at the skyline and going, it sure isn't 1945, is it? And, just
Hey. Sure. Good luck with that.
And in that final scene, do you hear the distant wafting noise of "Dancing Queen" by ABBA? And then it segues into them starting as a slow Dancing Queen dance to ABBA.
Yes.
And it picks up tempo and then scene.
But you see, here's the thing though, is that we're not really going to put an end to the musical because you're going to have to go to the pachinko parlors designed.
That are set
Grave
up
of the
right
Fireflies
outside.
pachinko.
Right,
And,
right.
where you're going to have that all-important
makes
scene.
sense.
Yep.
It all comes together.
Yep.
It all comes
All
together.
come together. Yeah, that's brilliant.
That's going to be my Mugen Train.
This suggestion
I believe it.
alone is right now somebody's going to the Hague to the War Crimes Tribunal to have us brought up on charges for being terrible people.
And the stream ends.
Hi, Interpol. Everybody stay where you are.
Knock, knock, knock.
I haven't been swatted. I've been Interpoled.
Yeah.
on.
I have not been watching anime. I've been reading manga. So I have some manga I've been reading and quite thoroughly enjoying. The Alchemist Who Survived and Now Dreams of a Quiet City Life is kind of my obsession at the moment. It's a fantasy series, not isekai.
Okay.
Teenage girl, fair to middling level alchemist, living in the woods, selling her potions. A disaster occurs, and she goes into suspended animation. The spell goes awry to sort of wait out the disaster. The suspended animation goes awry, and she wakes up 200 years later to discover that the local area has now become kind of monster infested. And the city that she used to be in is now sort of on the edge of a dungeon, and now it's full of adventurers and things and so forth. But all of the alchemists have died out. There's no alchemy being made in this area, because in this world, alchemy is actually like tied to the local ley lines and so forth. So you have to like you have to live there, like make a contract and so forth, and do stuff. And so her potions are now worth 200 times what they were before.
Okay.
Because she can do like healing potions, which nobody can do in this area. But they're delving it down to dungeons, so it's incredibly valuable. And what's nice is she immediately is like, I should keep my identity a secret.
Yeah.
And so it's very much about her kind of finding her new life and her new normal, basically, in this environment. She lived very much alone. And now she kind of has to rely on other people. But it has this nice kind of somewhat slice of life aspect, because she is just kind of trying to establish a new city life for herself. Slight trigger warning. There is slavery in this world.
Okay.
It is Japanese-style slavery, so it is you're either a debt laborer, in which case you pay it off and then you're freed, or like it was a serious crime that you're
Right.
done for. There's no hereditary slavery. It's just you did a thing. And the main character does end up buying a guy who is being very badly abused to kind of rescue him. I will say the author does a really impressive job of presenting the institution as inhumane and degrading, while also presenting the perspective of the people in this world as basically like, oh, it's a shame that has to exist. Right? Like, they don't really question the fact that this is inhumane and degrading. It just kind of is. And
Right.
what can you do? And so it strikes a reasonable balance story-wise, where characters aren't walking around going, this is an injustice and has to stop. They're just like, slavery, that's, ugh.
Yeah.
And so I appreciated that just kind of approach to it. I really enjoyed it. I actually read both the light novel and the manga. I think you can go in with either one. The light novel actually has a lot of like asides about alchemy that don't really make any difference to the plot, and the manga kind of ties it all together nicely, or condenses it. It kind of skips all that stuff and just presents you the plot. Nice artwork as well. So I enjoyed that one. Also, My Senpai is Annoying, which is about two adults in an office environment. One of them is it's a romantic comedy. The girl looks like she's 12. It's that thing.
Okay.
The guy is a big bear of a man. I will admit it's one of those things where nobody has any boundaries. Everyone's constantly making fun of each other. People are constant put downs between people because it's funny. So not the best model for romantic relationships in terms of how people are interacting, but it is legitimately sweet. Right? It is very much them kind of getting closer to each other and starting to admit things. She's very much Taiga from Toradora.
Oh.
Yeah, it's that kind of
sounds good.
yeah,
Okay.
it's that kind of a thing. So yeah, so if you like that, lovely art style, really fun. The other one I'm going to mention is Granny Girl Hinata-chan. This is the one that John I think will appeal to you.
Granny Girl?
88-year-old woman passes away, natural causes, and reincarnates in the modern world as an infant, with all of her memories and all of her knowledge. So when she comes into kindergarten, she toddles over, prepares a mug of tea, goes over and sits on the veranda and just sips her tea, and is like, oh, isn't this nice? Oh, it's wonderful. And people come over and ask her things, and and she's like, oh, you bruised your knee. You really need to steep this thing with this thing to create a poultice, to do that thing, because she has all of this folk knowledge,
Yeah.
And everyone's like, how do you know all this? I read it in a book. You know, so it's very cutesy, very light fun. It's
good.
adorable, and I also gotta say, halfway to the book, there's plot. Like, plot actually happens in this book, which I did not expect. So I'm intrigued just to see where that stuff all goes.
She knows the location of Yamashita's gold.
Yeah. So it is a again, artwork is adorable, just fun just for that. And I'm just really enjoying that one. So yeah, so that's those are some fun suggestions. I'm kind of trying to watch them or trying to read some things because at least one of these will definitely become an anime someday.
Right.
So trying to get ahead a little bit of the curve on these.
That last one sounds definitely like it would be an extremely cute anime.
Yeah. And are hard because it's just kindergartners all running around doing their thing. I also appreciate it because if anyone like falls down or gets offended by anything or gets hurt, they're kindergartners. They forget it in a minute. So there's no real consequences to it. So yeah, that's the stuff. Also, Spy Family, just more of that, please.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Well, and they hinted at the end of Volume 3 they're going to get a dog. Because they got to get a dog. And so they go to this special facility.
Spy dog.
Where there are all these dogs who have been in some kind of weird experiments.
Oh.
It's like, oh god.
They're going to come home with a corgi named Ein by
Yeah,
any chance?
pretty much. Apparently. It's like,
Hey,
here we
Steve's
go.
already got it going on right
Yeah,
there.
there we are. There's I. So yeah.
Your data dog.
Y'all hear that? Hello, and welcome to the latest anime news for the week ending January 9th, 2021, as I try to shift everything around here. So, unsurprisingly, the holiday season with its associated travel and gatherings has seen a sharp rise in COVID-19 cases around the world, including in Japan. In response, the government has placed Tokyo and its neighboring prefectures of Saitama, Kanagawa, and Chiba in a state of emergency running from yesterday through February 7th, so just about a month. Restaurants and other food service venues have been asked to close by 8 p.m., and non-essential outings also restricted after that time each day. Large gatherings retain the restriction of 5,000 people or half capacity, which has been in place since December, and the government also has movie theaters and amusement parks limit their capacity to 50%. These restrictions have, of course, also affected anime and manga-related events as well. The openings of both the new Space Battleship Yamato compilation film and the final Evangelion film announced delays this week. The Space Battleship Yamato era The Choice in 2202 film is a compilation of both the Star Blazer Space Battleship Yamato 2199 and Star Blazer Space Battleship Yamato 2202 anime series.
Boy.
It was scheduled to open in Japan January 15th, and its special Blu-ray and digital editions were also going to come out that day, but all three have been delayed to an as-yet unspecified future date. The associated stage greeting and live viewing events have also been canceled. The Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 Thrice Upon a Time film also suffered a cancellation, though not as drastic as Space Battleship Yamato. The self-proclaimed end of all things Evangelion, if you believe that, has canceled all midnight screenings for the film, which isn't too surprising considering the new 8 p.m. curfew. 15 theaters across Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, Fukuoka, and Sapporo were planning to hold midnight screenings of the films for its earliest opening day showings on January 23rd. The theaters with IMAX screens were also planning to show the previous film, Evangelion 3.0 You Can Not Redo, just before the midnight showing of the new movie. The cancellation announcement expressed sympathy to those infected with COVID-19 and gratitude and respect to the medical workers and others on the front line of the pandemic. The Thrice Upon a Time film has already suffered one COVID-related delay last year, being pushed from June 27th to its current January 23rd. A number of in-person events and venues have also responded to the new restrictions. Wonderfest 2021 Winter, the major model kit and figure convention, also known as WonFest, scheduled for February 7th, has been canceled outright. The staff noted around 6,500 dealers alone were planning to attend the event, which already surpasses the 5,000 limit even without attendees. The Gundam Factory Yokohama has also halted advance ticket sales for viewing of the life-size Gundam, but will announce later how people can buy tickets on the same day they visit. So you'll still be able to show up for it.
Still gonna steal that son of a bitch.
No kidding. Sanrio's Pearl Land theme park will close through January 31st. Several anime cafes are restricting their hours, and several other in-person events like cast appearances and concerts have been canceled or move online for franchises like Sailor Moon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and Hypnosis Mike. Here's hoping everyone stays safe and the situation around the world improves very, very soon. Not sure what else. Not sure what else there is to say about this, but hoping this resolves itself quickly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Evangelion and Yamato are not going to be able to touch Mugen Train now ever,
True.
because they're going to get this shortened
Yeah.
slice of the pie, and then they're going to be out of the theaters before they even have a chance to pick up any steam.
Well, hopefully they can push that out. They might be able to, continue on.
No, nothing can stop Mugen Train. Nothing.
No.
They might not even try.
I
Just
will say-
go straight to DVD.
I will say, if anything can outdo Demon Slayer, it's Evangelion. I'm not saying it will, but I'm saying never count out Evangelion.
You don't think
Like,
Space Battleship Yamato can? Oh, come on. There's got to be some loyal, diehard old people that would want to watch this.
It has a fan base. There's no question.
IG1!
Well, I was just gonna say this is the reason why Evangelion is not gonna end, because once COVID goes away, they're gonna go. We still have to be Mugen Train next Evangelion.
Right. There we go.
Yeah.
Well, and now they can say, well, but see, with everything going on in COVID-19, we weren't able to tell the real story.
The story.
Oh, my goodness.
We want to tell you the real story behind the slow climb.
Yeah.
Exactly. No.
The
Not our
sad part is
true
I could totally see somebody exactly that thing. We weren't really able to express creatively where we thought that Evangelion would really natively, holistically go.
Right.
So now it's going to be 3.0 plus 1 plus 5 plus 2 plus 6.
Mm-hmm.
That will really allow us to tell the story.
Yeah.
Part 2.
Yeah. It's got to be an OVA next, right? We've done TV, we've done movies. We're going to have an OVA. We'll get like the first couple episodes, and they'll be progressively delayed, and they'll just go longer and longer.
Yeah.
And then
And
finally,
we'll be
in 2049.
Yeah, it was like we'll be discussing this in like the second half of the 21st century.
Oh, gosh, Evangelion. All right, moving along to happier news. One Piece has been a mainstay in the manga and anime world since it debuted way back in the 90s. That's right.
Oof.
And this week brings a huge milestone for the manga that started it all. This week, the manga published its 1,000th chapter.
Oh, dude.
My goodness.
To celebrate this incredible accomplishment, One Piece and publisher Shueisha are holding the One Piece 1000 Logs event. The main part of the event is the World Top 100, a global character popularity poll, where fans can choose from more than 1,000 characters to pick their favorite. Participants can vote for one character each day until February 28th through the website or mail-in postcards, because Japan. The website describes the contest, saying, quote, "Get ready, it's time to vote. Who will you choose from One Piece's treasure trove of characters to be your Ichiban, your number one? The chosen ones will gather together in this very spot, each of them representing unique values and beliefs from fans from around the world. As countless values and ways of thought converge to create the World Top 100, which character will emerge as the one and only Ichiban? To find out, we'll have to band together. Let's show the world we are one," end quote. The site also promises that an exciting conclusion awaits for the characters who make the World Top 100, so the fans will have to fight hard for their favorites. In addition to the voting, the World Top 100 website also has a World Hot Characters page,
Oh boy.
which shows the top 3 characters for each day by world region, so hot in terms of popularity.
Okay.
Those who vote are also eligible to win prizes, including special AR 3D models of the characters based on the World Collectible Figure Arcade prize line. Along the character poll, the 1,000 Logs project includes several other celebratory events. Shueisha published a full-page color ad in the New York Times this week.
What?
That's what you see on the left, and the website includes sections for lots of other content that'll come in the future, including a live-action teaser looking back at the series' history, collabs with other magazines and artists, new trailers, and more. The cover art of the next 2 issues of Shonen Jump feature various One Piece characters drawn by other manga artists, and will combine to create a special double-sized image. That's cool. The poster inserts from the 2 issues will also combine to create one big double-sided poster, forming the biggest poster insert in the history of Shonen Jump. Creator Eiichiro Oda acknowledged the accomplishment himself, of course, publishing a letter containing his thanks and reflections. He ends the letter by saying, and I quote, "I have a favor to ask. This is for everyone with whom, by some means or another, I managed to create a bond, or in other words, the One Piece fans of the world. My story is a long one, but for just a while longer, please watch over Luffy and his crew as they continue their adventure." End quote. One Piece began serialization in 1997. Anime began in 1999, inspiring 14 feature films, 13 specials, and 1 OVA, plus video games and innumerable other media and merchandise.
Oh boy.
There's no Mugen train, but there's a One Piece train.
It's a boat.
It's a boat, yeah. There's a One Piece boat.
That was what I was thinking is going to be your top 100 characters. Something special will happen to them. The boat goes down. No.
Yeah.
But if you vote again and send us $25, then the boat won't. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on here.
Yep.
We'll use Steve's claim to riches. It's top 100 characters. Pachinko.
Yeah, we are.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Make a particular machine out of that. You're good to go. And you're right, Captain Laser Eyes. You know, full props to Oda for continuing this thing. Like, there's a man with some work ethic. You know, he's kept this going, kept it chugging along. You know, he hasn't pulled a Bleach. You know, people still love One Piece. Absolutely, good on him.
You can't get enough of Monkey D. Luffy.
Absolutely.
Straw Hat Crew.
Speaking of Shonen Jump, anime fans are no strangers to waiting between seasons or movies of their favorite series, but it's not every day a new entry gets announced 25 years after the last one. A new film is in the works based on the classic basketball manga series Slam Dunk. Manga creator Takehiko Inoue posted the news himself on Twitter, and an official website for the film followed on, revealing the animation would be done by Toei. The manga was published in Weekly Shonen Jump from 90 to 96 with a total of 31 volumes. It has sold over 121 million copies in Japan alone, making it one of the best-selling manga series in history. Wow. Inoue even received special commendations from the Japan Basketball Association in 2010 for helping to popularize basketball in Japan. The manga inspired a TV anime which ran from 93 to 96 and sparked 4 previous anime films which came out in 94 and 95. As we said, a long wait in between the last films and this one. It follows delinquent Hanamichi Sakuragi, there we go, who has terrible luck with girls. After enrolling in high school, he becomes interested in a girl who loves the game of basketball, so he joins the team to get closer to her. And since it's a sports anime, it turns out he's a natural athlete and learns to love the game even beyond his crush. Big shock there. I can't think of any other franchise to get a revitalization that well. I guess Hunter x Hunter got a new TV series. I guess it has happened, but man,
25 years later though.
Yeah,
right?
I mean about that. I wonder why now.
Wasn't there Astro Boy that did a few years ago? That was the update of Astro Boy.
There have been a few updates of Astro Boy. That's true.
I mean,
yeah, there have been a couple of
So
that's a good point.
some of those franchises do. You can still, So what is it?
But
beat a dead horse, as Captain Laser Eyes said.
But it is interesting that it definitely feels like Slam Dunk's anime time was the 90s.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And then nothing, and then suddenly, it's interesting. Why now? I don't know.
Maybe they've hit the Hollywood wall, where there's just no more creative ideas to do anything with, so they're just going back. Like, throw it all the way back. Let's do Saizei-san as as a dramatic soap opera.
There we go.
Like, no.
I mean, certainly, sports anime have retained popularity. And I certainly still hear about Slam Dunk in like the Jujutsu circles and things like that. Folks are still talking about it as a franchise. I don't know.
Well, it's interesting. It's Slam Dunk because if I always bring up Ashita no Joe.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Isn't Megalobox kind of a sort of an update of Ashita
Like
no
a
Joe?
remake, kind of. Yeah.
So I'm surprised it's Slam Dunk itself.
Yeah, it's true.
And not just saying, well, you know what? Let's take all the the architecture of Slam Dunk, and people really responded to that, and we're just gonna do Dunk It, man, and it's gonna be the same kind of thing, but it's just a different title, and it's gonna be updated for the new audience.
Or a remake, or a reboot, kind of like with like Hunter x Hunter did. There's things like, hey, we're gonna kind of refresh it a little bit. Yeah,
right.
You're right.
It's like so. Interesting they chose this.
Yeah.
Also interesting that the Japanese Basketball Association gave them an award for making. I always thought basketball. If you watch any anime from quite a long way back, it always seems that kids are in a gym playing basketball at some point.
Yeah.
So was that just like an oddity? What did they do if they weren't playing basketball? Was there a volleyball? Obviously volleyball. Yeah. That was the answer.
Yeah, no, it's certainly, basketball has been a thing in Japan for a while, since before Slam Dunk, but it can be one of those things where Slam Dunk was just getting pushed over the edge, where it was a sport, and then it became a big sport after that.
It got prefectural championships. I wonder if it was somewhere in that kind of thing. It's like there is field sports that you run around outside, but you don't do anything with it. You just do your gym thing and you leave. And maybe I wonder if Slam Dunk was that moment where you started seeing the teams actually starting to be serious and to compete, and then to have regionals and nationals.
Right.
Maybe so.
Yeah, it could be. It's interesting. Also this week, news stories that we may talk about, we may not, but worth mentioning. Kodansha announced this week a TV anime in the works based on the Orient manga, a battle fantasy story from Shinobu Otaka, creator of Magi. No release date yet, but Kodansha is streaming a teaser video for the new series. It's about best friends Musashi and Kojiro, who dreamed as children of becoming the strongest warriors and fighting the demons who prey on innocence. But one of them turns cynical, and the other realizes he can't turn back 150 years of demon rule on his own. They're almost ready to settle, but guess what? Otaka launched the manga in Weekly Shonen magazine back in May of 2018. Teasing Master Takagi-san, creator Soichiro Yamamoto's most recent manga is also inspiring a new TV anime. Even So, Ayumu Approaches commemorates Weekly Shonen magazine's 60th anniversary. It's a romantic comedy centering on shogi, a Japanese variant of chess.
Another shogi.
This started back in 2019 and already has 5 compiled volumes. The anime is set to air sometime in 2022, however, so we have a ways to wait. Also airing that year will be the new Kankole anime project. This is confirmed at the end of the first anime series way back in 2015. That it'd get a sequel. Kanekawa confirmed it again in 2019, and the New Year's greeting from production company C2 Kikan just confirmed that they, anime studio Engi, and Kanekawa are steadily making headway on the project. It is based on the web browser game that launched in 2013, following the Kanmusu or Fleet Girls. A new original TV anime was also announced this week, set to launch already in April, titled Fairy Ranmaru, I Will Help Your Heart. The new official website shared a teaser image of what appears to be 4 high school boys and a bartender, plus 2 animal creatures. Okay. A production unveiling event will take place on January 18th to reveal cast, director, and story. An anime film has officially been greenlit for boy band Argonavis from Bushiroad's Bang Dream franchise. The boys are also getting a stage play to run in the summer, and their smartphone rhythm adventure game will debut on January 14th. The group was announced back in 2018 with their Argonavis from Bang Dream TV anime series, premiered in April of 2020, and I'm sure they want to Bang Dream you. Fans of the ID invaded anime series.
You went there.
Nice.
Fans of the ID
We'll
Invaded
clap for
anime
that.
series might have something new to look forward to soon. The TV Anime's official Twitter account posted a video this week that shows the names of many of the story's characters and ends with the text, "They will return," and what looks like a super deformed silhouette of main character Sakaido. The caption of the tweet itself is coming soon. Kodansha officially announced this week that the long journey of Attack on Titan will come to an end in April. The final chapter of Hajime Isayama's wildly popular story will appear in the April 9th issue of Bisatsu Shonen magazine after 11 and a half years of serialization, and the 34th and final compiled volume will ship in June. Kodansha also teased that many projects are being prepared to celebrate the manga's conclusion. It launched in 2009, has more than 100 million volumes in circulation worldwide. The TV anime aired back in 2013. G-Kids revealed on Thursday it's working with both Fathom Events and independent theater circles to screen Studio Ghibli's first CG feature, Earwig and the Witch, in select U.S. theaters on February 3rd. So keep an eye out for that. About a month, we'll be getting that. The film will screen both in Japanese with subtitles and in English. And for everyone not able to catch it in theaters, it will stream on HBO Max starting on February 5th.
February 3rd is a Wednesday. Man.
Thursday marked the 10th anniversary of the subversive magical girl anime Puella Magi Madoka Magica. The series' official Twitter account announced an upcoming 10th anniversary project, and a website opened featuring a special logo and art of Madoka from character designer Umi Aoki. The website will feature celebratory images from various illustrators and manga creators, and also teaches future updates. So fans will have to keep an eye out for those, as well as the original 2011 anime series. We had 3 anime films, a smartphone game, and a recent anime series based on that smartphone game. Finally, the Mugen Train just cannot be stopped. After dominating the all-time charts in Japan, the Demon Slayer film is now making its way up the worldwide charts, becoming the second highest earning anime film and Japanese film of all time worldwide, surpassing Your Name. And the real kicker, the film has not yet opened in China.
Oh my God.
Or North America, or many other territories worldwide.
This
So the
thing
train
is, oh my God.
isn't anywhere near its
I
final
didn't
earning
realize that.
destination. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. China.
Boy.
Jesus.
Wow.
Oh, good
Well, it's neat to
Lord.
be here at the front seat area of watching a global pandemic of the film version.
Yeah.
I mean, God, that's just amazing. Wow. China and the rest of the world
Yeah.
has a chance. Wow.
And in fairness, Japan has had relatively lax COVID restrictions in theaters and such. So other countries are not going to be able to have necessarily quite the same sort of.
But
China. I mean,
I was gonna say if
Holy crap.
50% of China goes to see it, that's still
Still a
500 million people. Like, good Lord.
And you know they're going to see it
Yeah.
because we're going to see it.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Oh my God.
You know, it's a phenomenon. It's just going to roll. Here's my question. When will it leave
Learn all the-
theaters worldwide?
No, you know what what's going to happen? It's going to go
Yeah.
Rocky Horror Picture Show. There's going to be midnight showings everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm being serious.
It's
I'm
going to
willing
end
bet.
You're right.
as a prime release and then a cult classic, and it's going to journey its way around that way. The dollar theaters of old.
The dollar theaters next to the university campuses.
Yeah.
Is what it's going to
Yeah.
be. No.
I think you're right.
This, I wonder if this is going to do a Genshiken thing for university anime clubs, where it's like suddenly people are going to see Mugen Train and be like, does our university have an anime club? And then
Yeah.
they're going to sort of start wandering in and be like, hi, do you guys do that thing like the train show I saw? Like, yes, we do. Come on and sit down.
Yeah.
Because the sad thing is I can see this, like I'm going to be, Lord willing, 89 years old.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. Just
Congratulations.
on my walker, picking up or turning on the laptop and going, Mugen Train number 48. Bastard.
That's the thing. That's the other thing, is that, Demon
It's gonna
Slayer's
get
over.
Yeah.
Like, the
Yeah.
manga's done. like I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with this franchise. Because it ain't over.
Somebody right now is just like, please come out, come to open up the manga again.
No.
Just do something. Hurry.
I'm willing to bet they kidnapped the entire production crew. Everyone committed to the series and the manga just said, yeah.
Reboot, yeah.
You were too successful. So we have to hold you now forever.
Yep.
Make us more money.
So one of two things. Demon Slayer reboot, I completely agree, J-Biz. Yeah. Or in a few years we will get Demon Slayer 1.0.
You cannot go alone.
Yes. Demon Slayer Death and Rebirth, the end of Demon Slayer, and we just follow that whole pattern.
We just keep doing that.
And actually, come later, I think you're absolutely right. We'll have a sequel series. We'll have a new storyline in the same universe, new characters. We're talking about the Inuyasha thing. That totally makes sense.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I like to see the 10th anniversary announcement of Madoka Magica. That was good. I'm glad they gave us a heads up on that. I've been waiting patiently for that. Oh my. I do want to see though Earwig and the Witch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do want to see that. That's going to be really tough given its release schedule. So I'm going to end up having to find a way into HBO for that one.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it'll air on more than just a Wednesday. It'll probably be for a couple of weeks. It'll be in theaters.
Yeah.
And Brent, I know you watched some of ID Invaded. Did you watch the entirety of it?
Nope.
What was your impression of it?
Fascinating. Honestly, it was a little too intense for me at the time. I just didn't want something that was that serious and that, dark.
Because you had said it was like Inception, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Guys basically diving into people's subconscious and trying to figure out what happens in the real world by deciphering what he's seeing in their subconscious. So he's not like seeing memories. He's seeing in episode 1, it's like all of these deconstructed houses everywhere, and they all eventually fit into this like pattern. But then he's seeing like different people, and they're like parts of people. Right. And he's trying to understand what that means, and like why is that there, and why is that person over there, why is this person in this house? Because it's all symbolic.
Oh boy, yeah, that sounds like that's deeply intense kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like they're going after like serial killers, so it's not light. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got you.
So I was very impressed with it, and it is very carefully and well done. What I saw of it, it was just again one of those things you think, not the right tone for me right now.
It sounds a little intense for like an afternoon watch.
Hey,
exactly. It's lunchtime. Let me do something that's going to cause me to sit here all day and think about what I just watched.
And also, I started watching it when it was coming out, and I was like, I do not want to be waiting. I don't want something like really terrible happening at the end of an episode and have to wait 7 days. Like
yeah.
In fact, that kind of happens at the end of episode 2. There's a dark twist. And you're like, oh no, So.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Cool. Thank you, Jay. Dungeon Only I Can Enter. I may check that one out. It does sound cute. We'll see where that goes.
Oh, Jay got Flowers of Evil. Oh.
Oh, wow. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
eBay it.
In all fairness, as we know, Phil has taught us. Phil loves that.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
It's like it is a it fits a lot of people in the right way and hits them just exactly like they want.
Yep.
And then other people, it is like a Super Ball, and you are bounced the hell off of it.
Yep.
And want nowhere to go with it.
Yep. I was one of the Super Balls. Yep.
Me too.
Like I understand where it's going. I respect its approach. Yeah. Like I get it, but just not for me. Yeah.
Flowers of Evil.
Flowers of Evil. An all rotoscoped anime.
Yeah.
Really interesting. And like intentionally like off-puttingly rotoscoped.
Yeah. And the intro and exit songs are like this, it's auditory hell. I mean, it's really
Very
it's
dissonant.
yeah, I mean, it's just a weird musical scape, and that's same thing. I totally respect everything that they did to achieve what they were aiming at, and brilliant. I can't handle that kind of brilliance.
Yeah. Folks in the chat are pointing out the manga might be worth checking out, and I hear that. I might actually go for the manga because it sounds like the anime kind of pushes the manga further.
Yeah.
It's like but the manga might be more one speed, and especially because you can kind of you can pace it however you want to.
Yeah, I was gonna say the manga's not moving like the way they do in that show, where it's just like, oh goodness.
Yeah. But yeah. That's interesting, Spin. That the manga and anime are kind of very different experiences. Very different impression of what's happening. Interesting, or what it is. Curious. Yeah, and I'm all for weird anime. Right? I'm all for that.
The night is long. Walk on, girl.
Yeah.
Summer Wars. Paprika.
Yeah. Love Paprika.
We'll be talking about Paprika soon.
Yes, we will.
Let me talk a little bit about anime history. There's a notable thing in anime history this week. Let's talk about that real quick. Welcome to This Week in Anime History, where I talk about things that happened this week in anime history. This week, January 5th, just a few days ago, saw the birth of Hayao Miyazaki, who you might be familiar with if you're watching this channel. The legendary anime creator behind Nausicaa the Valley of Wind, and My Neighbor Totoro, and Howl's Moving Castle, and Princess Mononoke, and The Wind Rises, and on and on and on. Gee's Delivery Service. Born back in 1941, so technically a child of World War II, although he was not, sort of conscious of it at the time. Yeah, he was very young for it. But definitely influenced by it as a result. His father was involved in working for the government during that time. And he ended up getting involved in the animation industry pretty early on, spent a lot of time over in the movie business, working on a variety of children's films in the 60s and 70s, and then transitioning to Lupin III, often considered to be the first adult anime on television. And then from that, made Future Boy Conan, the TV series, and from there spun off into other work, especially based on his longtime collaboration with Isao Takahata, the famous anime director behind Grave of the Fireflies and Tale of Princess Kaguya. They worked together a lot, so Takahata would direct and Miyazaki would kind of assist. Miyazaki would direct, Takahata would kind of assist. And so they kind of bounce back and forth that way, and were effective collaborators in that way. And he is still going strong, so he is 80 years old as of this week, and still working on his next film, despite retiring back in the late 80s. Technically, I think this is his seventh retirement. Seventh or eighth retirement. And he's chugging right along. So happy birthday, Miyazaki-san. Many more, we hope.
Happy work.
Omedetou Tanjobi.
Exactly, yes. Good old Mia-san. And seems to be, healthy.
Yeah.
Doing his thing.
Hopefully he will be well into his, 200 or 300 years.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Has he been declared a national treasure yet or not?
Probably. That's a great question.
Because he has brought a lot of accolades and eyes to Japan and Japanese entertainment industry that I would think would be acknowledged in some form or format.
Yeah. I'm not seeing anything obviously on that. I wonder. I don't know. It's actually kind of an interesting thing. I know that there are awards in Japan for person of merit kind of thing.
Right.
I just don't know what that is. So he's probably got something.
He is going to live until he can beat Mugen Train.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he can hit 500. Because again, as I had said, a few weeks ago, in the future there will be nothing but Mugen Train, nothing but Demon Slayer.
And it's
I
tough.
don't know. Maybe he can repurpose Totoro and put him on a skateboard and have him.
There we are.
Like,
Have him surf down a mine
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Play some basketball.
Oh yeah.
while he's doing it.
And singing idol songs while doing it.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Fan artists get on this. Yeah, no, it's interesting. There's the thing is, he's making more and more personal films. Okay, I'm gonna get morbid for a second. I'm gonna say something. If Miyazaki makes an animated film, and again, I'm sorry for saying this, and passes away just before it comes out, that movie will beat Mugen Train. If it's his last film ever, that will do it.
I'm not even sure on that. I think it will come damn close. But are we talking in the near term or in the long term?
I'm talking long term.
Okay, long term, because
Yeah,
it would be his final swan song, his last thing. Yes, I think long term he would make a good gain on it, but I don't think in like if you said okay 52 weeks, set it down right here. I was like I'm not sure in 52 weeks he could do that.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing, and I mean Mugen Train is like Titanic, right? It is kind of a fluke. But I'm wondering if what's going to be the next fluke. Like if Demon Slayer can make this much money, is there going to be some other movie that comes along and maybe doesn't make as much, but like, is these sorts of records going to be a thing, or is this kind of money going to be a thing? I don't know.
Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0. No, I think it's going to be Seito Kayaku Indomo.
Clearly,
movie, obviously.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, it just because of COVID and the sort of desperate need to have some kind of distraction from it, it's kind of perfect storm, I think, for Mugen Train.
Yeah.
And
obviously the content's good, because if it was terrible, it would still not make money.
Right.
So obviously it's a good thing. The franchise is beloved at this point. And then people are so desperate for entertainment that it hammered together in this phenomena.
Yeah.
I don't want a COVID 20,
Right.
No. But you know what I mean? Maybe it needs to be something of that element again, where people are still in their houses, they're still not able to do stuff,
and that's the thing.
Yeah, it strikes that nerve.
JoJo the musical. You're right. That would do it.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing. Like to that point, if we enter, it seems like it's possible that we're moving into another brief sort of serious lockdown period over the next few months.
Yeah.
With Tokyo's declaration of emergency. Yeah.
Whereupon EVA 3.0 plus 1.0 comes out. Right? Like I wonder if maybe not even that film, but I wonder if the conditions are right for another fluke to happen with something. We'll see.
But could you have it in such order? You know what I mean? Because you had Titanic when Leonardo DiCaprio was like 12. And you know what I mean? And a lot of time's gone by, and now you get
that's true. Right.
Is it going? Can you do this fluke twice in a row, or do you have to have like this was the perfect storm, and now it's going to be 5, 10, 15 years, and then there's going to be whatever, hopefully a joyous thing that causes a fluke.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Please, not terrible.
Yeah. And so this is going to be an interesting test. Is it the COVID, or is it other factors involved as well? Is it purely just the fact that everyone's home alone?
Because I got to tell you, I have.
I don't think Home Alone got this kind of play.
It's pretty close.
What I was going to say was for Mugen Train, like before COVID-19, I whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I there was no reason for me to see this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to see it just simply because it's going to hit China and explode there, and it's going to explode other places. So, you just want to ride the wave at this point.
Yep.
But had COVID-19 not happened, as you guys were suggesting, would Mugen Train really have been that solid of a movie?
Mm-hmm.
I think the answer is no. John, I think you got the point that I think it was just a perfect storm of events. Now, Titanic had multiple things going for it to be successful.
Sure.
It had the soundtrack. It had a huge thing like Cameron doing other things that were popular before the movie began. His dives down there and all that stuff. There was even an IMAX 3D movie about it. So Titanic had a whole thing behind it to push it forward, and they got good marketing and merchandising on that. Mugen Train Mugen Train just came out, and then I just don't see that kind of push behind it. So I think you're right. I think it's more along the lines of this is what came out at that time. I'm just glad that was Mugen Train and not Higurashi.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it could have well been. Really?
Yeah.
But I mean, if you just substitute whatever other animated film into this slot, so Higurashi or whatever, and it was doing this well, I'd still see it. If it was Puella Magica, if it was the Madoka movie, and it was doing this crazy gangbusters, I'd go see it. Just because I'd be like, maybe I've been so wrong about this, I kind of got a little upset, I lost my head a little. But, can't do that joke twice. But you know what I mean? It's like, that would drive me to see that film because it's so wildly popular. So,
right.
And I'm not saying that Mugen Train, I'm not saying that Kimetsu no Yaiba is not fantastically awesome.
Sure.
Great.
Right. Yeah.
But it's just not. I haven't watched more than 2 episodes of it, so
it's really not. That's what I'm saying. I have no otherwise interest in Mugen Train.
But
now I'm interested.
Right, exactly. Ride the wave. So.
And in fairness, like we had somebody last week who had seen the movie and was like, it changed my views of the series. Like it's interesting comparing the movie to the TV series. I think that's also notable, that the movie isn't just a cool movie; it is also reflecting on the TV series as well.
Right.
Who knows? It's going to be interesting. I'll be watching with great interest. Definitely see how this goes. I was just googling to see if there was any more news on the U.S. release date, and there is not. It is coming out early 2021 in U.S. theaters. I'm sure it is as soon as humanly possible as far as Funimation is concerned.
They're sitting there translating it right now.
Probably. Yep. Probably. All right. I want to talk about something I like. And I'm going to do that by switching over to this real quick so that hopefully I can switch over to something else real quick so that I can show you a thing that, again, I really like. So hopefully I can click on that and move that over there and then show you this thing. I can, actually. That actually works. But it's pretty important that I change this because what I'm talking about is not Yoshidora anymore. I want to talk a bit about this. Welcome to Brent's Anime Recommendation Corner, where I talk about an anime that I just love, and I'm talking today about The Venus Wars, an anime film from many decades ago.
Yes.
And this is an interesting film. It is a sci-fi film set on Venus in the future, obviously. Where stuff happens. It is about a bunch of teenagers engaged in a bike race until suddenly they are... War. Yeah, war happens. Literally, another nation attacks and kind of takes over. Bad stuff happens, and there's a whole military fight in the middle of this whole thing, and this becomes a sci-fi movie about living in an occupied city, where you are a subjugated nation living under martial law, amidst all of this kind of destruction and what it's like doing that as sort of typical teenagers. What I love about this movie is how well it contrasts these two things. How there is just kind of the standard teenage stuff going on, but also, curfew and soldiers on the streets and all that kind of stuff, combined with some really cool animated sequences. The character designs are by Yasuhiko. The character designer behind Mobile Suit Gundam, whose name I can't pronounce right now, and who also directed the film and has directed some other animated films over time. This is very much a sunrise sci-fi anime film, made kind of in the wake of Akira, and that kind of big spectacle science fiction movie. There's death. There's stuff happens. It's dark. It's serious, with occasional moments of comedy in and around it. It's also interesting for having this big tank standoff. Near the end of the movie, where it's basically a motorcycle versus a tank.
Yeah.
It's a really, really, really neat sequence.
Not a good plan.
And there's also a big sequence at the end that involves, we'll see if we can see some of it here, a bike race. Nope, that's not it either. Where is this bike race? Is it out here? Yeah. They do this whole thing where they try to combine hand-drawn animation with... No, I'm not seeing it there. There is a whole sequence that I do find this fascinating. Basically, these characters in these, I think they're called monopods. They're basically motorcycles, armored motorcycles.
Yeah.
Racing through a canyon. And...
Pod race.
I'm sorry, it's pod racing.
Yeah.
It really looks to me a lot like the pod racing sequence from Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And, Lucas is an anime fan. It would not surprise me at all if this was just, an inspiration that went there. See if we can find some stuff here. This final sequence, nope, that's the end credits. There's this whole sequence at the end where they basically try to combine live action with hand-drawn animation. So they're like live action backgrounds with the hand-drawn characters, which don't work at all. It just looks terrible.
Yeah.
Because it's actual film of something driving along, and then animated vehicles on top of the film of the thing. It just doesn't work.
Oh.
It's really odd. And again, I'm sure I'm not gonna be able to find it. You just have all these characters that look straight out of Gundam, which is kind of funny.
Is that Char?
Pretty much. Gosh, that's annoying. I really was hoping I could find a good shot of this stuff. But point being, really interesting science fiction movie set in a very kind of lived-in world where you feel like you understand how this world works while still feeling kind of exotic in science fiction and dealing with some interesting themes. We don't often get to see a story from the perspective of folks who are in an occupied city, along with some really cool action sequences and all that kind of good stuff, and builds up to a big rousing ending. So fun time, fun stuff. Very worth watching. And as Captain Laser Eyes points out in the chat room, it is set in the distant year of 2003.
Nice.
Here we go. So that is Venus Wars.
I'm gonna have to watch that. I've not ever seen that.
It's pretty cool. It's I actually saw it on the Sci-Fi.
Yeah.
when it came out, and it's and I think I had just seen Akira for probably the second or third time at that point. The protagonist is basically think Kaneda, but not completely stupid.
Yeah.
And self-absorbed. Well, he's a little self-absorbed, but but he's a teenager. And
more typical shonen protagonist.
Right.
Yeah. And the mechanics designs of the motorcycles, which are single wheel things, and how the front end of it like kind of bounces around and stuff like that, and how they fight in those things. Like there's actual cannon on the side, and they're going up against these gigantor tanks, and just it's just amazing just animation on it. I think it was one of the movies where I kind of watched it more for the animation than the actual story the first time around, and just because it was just so neat looking. And then there's the one scene where the friend is in the monopod, and you just see him from the point of view of the camera, the girlfriend of the reporter, or the boyfriend of the reporter, and then it just switches off, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
You're like, oh, okay.
Something just
it's very abrupt, and it is different because there is no winning. There is no winning in this.
Yeah.
Nobody wins.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting film, especially because it's not based on. I believe it is. It's an anime original, and then they went and made a manga adaptation of it.
Right.
And that's all there is. Like it's not based on anything else. They just did this thing and then moved on, as Sunrises want to do.
Well, I think it was one of the few ones that I saw it in Blockbuster.
Yep.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yep.
And it's just like I kept seeing it. I'm like, I don't understand really what I'm seeing. What is this box? I'm like, okay.
And to that
don't know
point,
what to make of that.
At that point, and as you can see from some of the screenshots there is a fairly recent re-release of this. I think on Blu-ray, and it's gorgeous. Like it's really nice transfer,
cleaned up.
Yeah. So more recent releases like really look nice, which is always good to see.
Okay.
Yeah. But I have a question for you all. What did we learn on the show tonight, friend? Perfect. Again, I did not learn anything about Mugen Train that I did not already know, because we're aware of the train. I learned there's a lot of upcoming anime that I'm kind of intrigued by, and that I'm looking forward to in this season. And I also learned that COVID does weird things to releases. And changes things a lot. I guess not a new thing, but just reinforced that a little more to deal with. We'll get there. So it'll be fine.
Yep.
That Gundam will be mine.
They'll have to pry you out of it at the end of the tour.
You'll never take me alive. Forgot the Gundam.
Gonna be a big truck.
Yeah.
I learned that their shogi anime still keep coming out. March comes in like a lion. The Ryo never learns. I think it might have been.
That sounds right. Yeah.
The shogi pieces look great. The shogi board looks great. It looks really cool. People playing. Heaven help me if you ask me to try. I was just like, I don't think this is my kind of game. But they just keep going with it. So I've learned that's going to happen. And there's a lot of new stuff this winter season. It's like, what did I say? 20 of them. So that's winter. Then I got spring. Then I got summer. Then I got fall. I got a lot to watch. So much to watch.
Did your eyelid, like mine, just kind of flutter at a certain point where it's just like, I can't. It's like can't make up its mind if it just wants to shut down or shut your eye down
Well,
or
no,
just
it's
like
it's
exhaustion.
It's worse. I didn't even recognize it until we were trying to like come up with the awards thing. It's like I didn't even recognize it. I just went through my anime list, had like winter, spring, summer, fall, 2020. I just went through and it shows all the titles and it shows, whether it's completed, on hold, you're watching, whatever. So I went through everything I completed, wrote it all down, or at least I kept a check mark of it. I didn't write everyone
Right,
down.
yeah.
Check. Then I went back and counted it. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like that's when the eye began to twitch, where it's just like, wow, I didn't realize I consumed that much. Like, that's pretty amazing. Do I leave the house? I work, right? I eat.
Wait, actually, you know what? This is your isekai.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Yeah, there
You're
we go.
trapped. You're trapped in an anime world watching anime. It's a game to see who can watch the most anime. You're trapped.
Wow. What
You're
happens when I get to
definitely
the end of it? Just let me die.
The goddess descends and offers you, offers you a deal.
If Belle Dandy comes down, I want her to live with me and love me forever.
There we go. Which she would do because she's Belle
Yes,
Dandy.
because she's Belle
That's it.
Dandy.
Yeah.
Aqua, close second. I don't know.
Okay,
She's
fair enough.
she's kind of the idiot water goddess. With her little fans, little water fountains come out the top of the fan. Stop it.
And you discover it's not Belle Dandy, it's Mihoshi.
Oh. There's your isekai hell right there.
Yeah. No.
Trapped forever with Mihoshi.
Trapped forever with Rem.
Oh. Okay.
That'd be fun. Anywho.
All right, that'll do it
Let's
for us
see
for
here.
tonight. Oh, no, sorry,
Oh.
Steve. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh my gosh. No.
Yeah.
So what I learned tonight that Tenchi Muyo is a cult, and that I belong to it. Apparently. and I'm not sure where I am on this the the level of like am I acolyte, priest, archbishop. I feel like you
Poobah.
are the I feel like Brent is cardinal level at this point.
He's the grand
Agreed.
poobah.
The Grand Poobah, the Grand Cabot of Tenchi.
There we go.
Cabot.
I get. Okay, perfect.
The Grand Cabot, and I'm the Cabot acolyte, or I am at the
The Cabalite.
Cavalier.
I am of the Order of the Ryoko.
Okay. Yeah. Ooh,
Okay,
that's good.
maybe
Solid
that's
choice.
where
Good
I'm
place to
at.
be.
So that's where I'm at there.
Yep.
So yes, I've learned that I had not realized that I was part of a cult called Tenchi Muyo.
Mm-hmm.
I have learned that the new anime that's coming out is I'm gonna go blind again, and but I'm finding that I'm enjoying the idea of watching a couple of these slice of life kind of things, that kind of stuff, and for some godforsaken reason, I am absurdly happy and excited to watch a Spider-Girl isekai because
Yep.
it's music
Mm-hmm.
and frenetic dancing and shouting into a mic from a Spider-Girl who's trying not to get squashed
Mm-hmm.
with her little Spider-Girl friends.
Yeah.
When you described it earlier, you said Spider Friends. All I could think of is like classic 1980s Saturday morning cartoons.
You're
of like,
right.
hey, it's the Spider Friends.
Hey, it's Spider-Man and his friends,
Yeah.
Firestar and Iceman.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it'll be Justice League America will be on.
There
Awesome.
we are.
Oh yeah,
Well, we already had Avengers Disc Wars, where
Yeah,
that's right.
the Avengers were all shrunk into little. It was weird. Well, I hope you all join us next week. As I mentioned in the Discord, I'm going to be hosting a seasonal anime watching party next Saturday. So I'll drop a link in the Discord to a Zoom where we're going to watch all the new anime airing this season, episode 1. At least stuff that's like not seasons 2 or 3 or kindergarten and stuff. And then we'll talk about that Saturday night. We'll do a quick rundown of all of those shows. And we will also be doing an anime analysis. As usual, we'll be looking at Perfect Blue, the Satoshi Kon, the first Satoshi Kon film. It's a laugh riot. No, it is psychological
It's a
horror.
great rom-com.
It's a great rom-com.
Yeah, no one I never thought I'd watch twice.
It is an adult film, so be aware of that.
Yes, it's full of adults.
It's full of adults, and there's some cases of adults doing adult things. So be aware of that, and we'll be analyzing that next week. That's the plan. So thank you all so much, as always. It's been a lot of fun. We will see you all next week.
Johnny. And there's the Baron.